Episode 41, everyone. Welcome back to the Quick Hands Rugby League podcast where we go hard on all things footy. George, Artie, welcome back, boys.
Welcome back,
How
everyone.
are you?
I'm excited, Nicola. I'm excited.
George, now that round 12 is...
In the bag.
In the can?
In the can. Bag, same. It's in the can, Nicola. In the can.
That's
in the
it.
can.
It's officially Origin selection week. Origin week is next week, but teams have been selected and we'll touch on that shortly.
I'm excited. Before we kick on, I'd like to say a big hello to all our New Zealand listeners, Nicola.
What?
I saw a spike in New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
And surprisingly, but I want to say bonjour to our French listeners.
Yes.
And we're going to have a French international of the lady type in the next fortnight or so. The Wonder Boy Anthony's organising that. But, we've got a big spike in France. So, again, bonjour, fans.
That's
Good
awesome.
stuff.
Back to you, Nicola.
Interesting. We're going global. You know?
we actually picked a few more up in
Europe.
in Italy, none in Greece yet.
What's happening with
No, I don't know, man. Nothing in Greece, but a few in Italy. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And India's still strong, by the way. Don't know how, but India's still strong.
Italy is a window of opportunity.
It must be.
It is, because they've failed to make the last two soccer World Cups, so
you
they're
reckon
ready for something new.
Straight into rugby
Yeah,
league.
it's window of opportunity, I reckon.
Well, they've got a good team, haven't they? Moses is leading them. Oh, that's the Lebs. What am I doing? Moses.
Let's talk Origin, boys.
Let's do it.
Their teams have been announced.
Mm-hmm.
How about we run through the lineups? Or do you want to do a comparison, backs against backs? Or
Run through the New South Wales team, yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the Blues. We got James Tedesco at fullback, Brian To'o on one wing, and Tom Trbojevic on the other wing. Latrell Mitchell, sorry, what am I talking about? Brian To'o and Josh Adokar on the wings. Latrell Mitchell and Tom Trbojevic in the centres. Jerome Luai at 6, Nathan Cleary at 7. And in the forwards, Tavita Pangai Jr. at prop, Api Coruscant at hooker, Payne Haas is the other prop, Tyson Frizzell, Hudson Young make up the back row, and Isaiah Yeo is the lock. And on the interchange, we have Junior Paulo, Cameron Murray, Liam Martin and Nico Hines. And on the extended bench, Stephen Crichton and Stefano Utokamano. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Sure have, and all I can say is I'm excited. That's all I can say.
It's a good team. It's a good team.
It's a good team.
You know, this team shows me that Freddie loves his job and wants to keep his job. That's what this team shows me. For once, he's picked the right team. I think he's picked the right team from 1 to 18. Is it 18? The 18th man?
It's a safe team. It's a reliable, safe team, I think.
I've got a couple of question marks.
19. Sorry.
I've got a couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go through it.
Yeah.
You got to have Teddy.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even his form isn't all the way up there,
Yeah.
but you got to have Teddy.
Yeah. He's the captain, isn't he?
He's the captain
Yeah.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Toho isn't a question.
No.
Now we get to Latrell.
He's got to be there.
He's the most damaging ball runner in the game.
Turbo's a question mark for me.
Why is that?
No.
Really?
Last week? No.
I'll tell you why. 10 rounds of poor form. That's why.
Yeah. No. Well, you know what? Form is temporary. Being a champion's forever.
Yeah, classes.
I know, but did he really have that good of a game on the weekend? He scored a couple of tries.
No, but he's surrounded with the best of the best. So
I just hope he's physically up for it.
Me too.
Because I tell you what, if he's not, it's going to go bad, really bad.
Adi asked me this.
They're going to target him.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely. He's going to be the spot.
Yeah.
He'll handle it.
Adi asked me last week about Tom, and they'll just pick him. And I said if he was a Queenslander and he's in doubt, he would have made a phone call to the coach and said, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
If he's there, he's got to be ready.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If this was this time last year, I wouldn't have an issue. Like Turbo's one of the first players picked. It's just based on what I've seen so far this season. We all know he's not Turbo this year.
He's not
for
Turbo.
whatever
No,
reason.
he's
So
not the same person.
now I hope a game like this, if it is partially a confidence issue, which I think it is on the back of his injuries, it'd be great if a game like this could kick him back into
I hope so.
You know, if he has a really good showing and a good game, he might return. He might get some of that confidence back.
I think it will. I think that's.
I just think he's a bit of a risk as a selection.
he's reliable. He'll do the job, and I think that's what I'm thinking. A bounce back factor. This is going to wake up the Giant.
Yeah, maybe,
Giant, and
maybe.
He's just going to kick on from there.
Nicola, I was desperate to see something for in the last month.
Yeah.
So I can say he's worth it.
Did you see enough though?
No, but I saw something.
Yeah.
There's something there, and you know what? You can't not have him in the team. I don't know.
Now, here's my question: at the expense of Campbell Graham,
okay, so
who's been the best informed player this season?
So this is the way I see it. Okay, Campbell Graham is a really, 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 really good player. Okay, Tom Travojevic is a devastating player.
Not this season. He's not. He's been horrible.
But it takes just like that to click in, and we're there.
I mean, if I'm Campbell Graham, I'd be saying to myself, "What do I have to do to get selected?"
Agreed.
He's been the form player this season.
And you know what? Fiddler is throwing the dice because I know and you know he loves his job, and if they lose, he has no job this year.
Of course, he's picked the team on what he believes will.
So he's throwing the dice on attack.
And he must, like with Turbo, for example, he must have had a conversation with him and said, "Are you ready to go?"
The conversation must have been
right?
Because if he's not, like you said, Graham just goes straight in and is the Australian.
The only thing, I mean, we all love Turbo. He's one of the champions of our game who, to me at least, doesn't seem to have the ego that goes with it.
Yeah, it's true,
he's
isn't it?
So modest. He's so humble.
So true.
All three of them, three brothers.
And
by the way, the youngest brother went off with a hamstring injury
as well.
Yeah, maybe it's hereditary. But the only thing that scares me about this is that I just think if it goes bad, it's going to go really bad for him. And I really hope that doesn't happen.
I hope not. Look, the only good thing is we got cover on the bench, but
and I've always been vocal about the fact that I've never been a fan of picking players out of position, and we've always New South Wales, like I've been saying all year, we've got 3 fullbacks on the field.
Yeah, but they're special human being fullbacks.
Yeah, well, but I just feel sorry for the genuine. There are genuine centres who can't make the team, who are in form, because they have to be left out for someone else.
In 2021, this same backline won the comp. That was the last one won Origin Series. So if it ain't broke, don't break it, and that's what Fittler's.
But it is broken. It got broken last year.
Yeah, because they didn't play.
Turbo played, didn't he?
No, he didn't play.
Didn't play last year.
Last year didn't play.
Or Mitchell. Mitchell was out as well.
Yeah. Okay.
He put in Burton and he put in Crichton.
He went
put
in
in these
to
other guys,
America,
young guys.
That's right.
And I reckon that's the reason why Cameron Murray missed out, or Campbell Graham missed out, because he tried the new blood last year. It didn't work out. Let's go back to the.
You know what? There's only one way to see what's going to happen. Is next Wednesday.
It was 2 years ago, and I just can't justify leaving Campbell Graham out, regardless of how you have him in there. I just think he had to be a starting centre. My opinion.
No. You're right. And you're right. Nine times out of 10, okay, Campbell Graham would be picked, but when you look at the name Travojevic, if 80%.
We'll see.
80%.
Is Addo Carr's one of the first players I'd have in my Blues team. Is he a risk?
Yes.
Only considering he's played one game in 6-7 weeks.
He's not fit enough, and he's rushed his date for the return.
But he had a full game.
He did have a full game.
And he came through and he looked fine physically.
Yep. And you know what? Even if there is an issue, the issue will be gone because there'll be a needle in the spot. And you know what? He just on the training paddock, the energy he will bring. You got to have him in the team.
Oh, I don't think anyone questions that.
You got to have him.
No, like I said, he's
not ready. No,
I had him in my team last week.
He's not ready.
But I suppose as long as he's one of those players that as long as he can get through the game physically, then you'll know what you'll get from him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he seemed to pull up okay yesterday.
Yeah. And he'll make that half chance a full chance. So you just got to have him.
I actually had Campbell Graham in that position to play outside. Yeah, in my team
as a winger.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have.
That's because I thought Addo Carr wouldn't play this week,
right.
but he got through it, and So
see, if I had to have Turbo in the team, I'd rather have him on the wing and Campbell Graham in the centres. I'd rather put Turbo on the wing because that's a closer position of fullback.
That's why I would have picked Campbell Graham as well, because you could do that change.
Yeah, and it gives you some versatility as well. I mean, Addo Carr, I've never seen him play fullback. if needed. I'm sure he could. The halves speak for themselves. Do you guys have any objections on the Penrith halves?
Yeah, I'm not I would have put. I wouldn't have put Jerome there. I would have put.
You would have had Hines, yep.
Yes, I would have had Hines. The only reason, you know what, same as we talked about, or Addo Carr and Tommy. He's had 1 game, maybe 1.5 games of decent rugby league. Jerome. Now he's the incumbent. Yeah, he's the incumbent, but I just like.
Hines is so
Nico.
electric. For
I
me,
like
me,
Nico.
the incumbent argument never works when you're coming off a loss.
Yeah, but
There's no use. You know what I mean? Like you pick incumbents when you're coming off a win, but when you're coming off a loss, what does the incumbent mean? It's an incumbent loser.
Is this his 3rd year or 2nd year?
Jerome, I think it's his third.
His 3rd?
Yeah.
So he was part of the 21 squad that
I
won
think
as
so,
well.
yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, he was.
That's why he got it.
He was.
That's
You
our-
know, you,
that's
you,
the next
you know
argument.
what? Can I be honest? You know why I want Nico there? Because I don't trust Cleary.
I've been saying I'd have Hines in my team every
don't
day of the
trust
week, but
Cleary.
I also picked him on the bench. I just think he needs to be there.
No, he's there.
If something goes wrong, he's so versatile.
Yeah,
The different positions he can play.
He's there.
He's played fullback. He's played in the halves. He can play anywhere.
You know, the funny thing is, Jerome plays in a really good team, but he's really a one-trick pony. He either throws a long pass or he does that step, like sort of going inwards towards the middle, and that's all he's got. Now, yeah, he works for Penrith. The game is the whole game is designed around Cleary, Luluwai, and the whole game is designed around those three. But in the Origins, let's see. I'm not convinced, but I hope that it works because we want to win. I want to win. And look at the forward pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me. I'm surprised that Junior Paulo's on the bench.
Yep.
I think he's a definite starter.
And he might start, but I think the thinking behind there is he can
Impact.
He can come on and stay on for a long period of
Yeah.
time. Look, Pangai Jr. is going to get 20 minutes. That's all. He's not going to get.
Um,
he's there to do a job.
Artie, you had some reservations over Pangai Jr.
Yeah, I wouldn't like if my job was based on this game or this series. He's not the type of guy. I hope I'm proven wrong, man. I hope he has a blinder, but I just think there's guys that have got a more Origin set attitude that
So, yeah,
would be
it's
there.
funny because I'm
Because-
complete opposite. Like since Pangai Jr.'s gone to Canterbury, I've seen this mongrel in him, and a lot of the games that I've seen them win is off the back of that, and I just think he's made for it. He's a roughhouse forward. Yes, he'll do something stupid,
Oh, guaranteed.
right?
Guaranteed.
But
Guaranteed.
that's
he'll do
it's
something
Origin.
stupid.
That's what we want.
Guaranteed.
Right?
Right? Something stupid.
I would.
I want a
rather-
bit of a loose cannon out there.
I'd rather put Jack the Bellin because I think he's a better defender. He tackles hard. He cuts him in half. The way he defends,
But Pangai's got a phenomenal offload.
he does. But Pangai was part of the Brisbane setup. They
Yeah.
didn't want him. He's going to be the spot. I know Billy Slater. They're just going to work him hard. He gets
Yeah.
frustrated. I just see a little bit of a weakness there, and I would have put someone like maybe a Jack the Bellin. I thought he was outstanding before all that drama happened with him.
I think his maturity.
Junior Polar as well. I'm
I-
surprised he didn't start.
I think his maturity is a bit of a question mark. Pangai, like he's probably easily baitable.
Yeah, Colin Matangi is he's injured, is he? So is that why he didn't?
Yeah, you'd have to.
Because
Yeah,
I
he
liked him.
definitely would have been in the conversation, but he's been out for about a month.
Yeah, so that's another guy that I can see Origin in him. You know what I mean?
Definitely,
That guy's a
100%.
bit of
Definitely in the
a-
future.
I see
Definitely.
more Origin in him than I see in
Yeah.
Pangai.
You know what?
I do think he's an Origin. I think he's made for Origin. now.
I understand what Freddie's thinking. Pangai has got a specific skill, and he's the only one probably in the whole competition who's got this specific skill. Not 80 minutes, for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. If he can ruffle some feathers, okay, and if he can get an offload off, okay, with the halves trailing through the middle and just break up the middle just once, and they're on the front foot, you pull him off, and you just bring Junior on, and the roll just happens. So it's really important to get off a really good start, especially through the middle. It's really important to start caving that drain, and that's why Appy's there to carve that middle out. You know what I mean? So he can step out and put the forwards 1-on-1 instead of getting gang tackled like they're going to get gang tackled early. You know what I mean? So I get it, but is he going to do something stupid? Is he a loose cannon? Yes, yes, and yes.
And that's what I want to see.
So it's a way up. You're weighing it up. He's going to do more good than bad. You know what I mean?
If I can just interject for a second, one point of view that George and I always disagree on is that I think Origin is not what it used to be. Oh. It's just another faster game of footy with less refereeing whistles. The aggression, the big hits, the biff, it's all gone. It's all gone.
The biff's not good rugby league.
So you know what? It's real simple, man. If you're losing 20 points to 6 and there's 5 minutes to go, throw a fucking punch. Who cares if you get simmed in? The game's over anyway.
Hey, Nico, did you watch the game 3 last year?
I watched all of them. I don't remember them.
Say no more.
Why?
Brutal.
Game 3 last year.
Remind me what happened.
Had everything. It was the best game I've seen in rugby league in my
It
life.
didn't have fights.
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did.
Did it?
It was
Poor
great.
Burton.
It
Poor
was one
Burton.
of the best probably origins in probably the last
Had an
10
all in.
years.
No.
Had an all in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I
There was
mean, you know
punches
what?
thrown everywhere.
Maybe, but if you put that next to any Origin game in the 90s, it won't hold up.
So would you guys have picked Tavita ahead of Junior Polo? I don't understand why Polo's not starting.
No, I would have had it the other way around. I would have had
Exactly.
Tavita on the bench.
I
Me
could
too.
see he'd be a good impact player, but
Yeah.
Junior Polo, I'm surprised he got.
Junior Polo, he's been awesome for
He's
a long
been
time.
Great, I know.
Junior's there.
Yeah, I know, but
he'll
he's not
play.
starting.
He'll play more minutes than
Yeah, he probably will.
Pengai.
but I'd start him against Fegler and Collins. You want Polo and
What
Huss.
about dummy half, the hooker, Appy Coruscant? I would have had Damien Cook
Yeah, hard done.
on his form this season.
Hard done, boy.
With Appy, he's got that combo.
Exactly.
Even though with the Penrith halves, he won't let you down.
No
Appy
way.
Coruscant, no way. But I would have had Damien Cook there. I thought Cook was pretty unlucky not to get picked.
Hardy?
Yeah, look, Fittler usually goes for the 2 hookers, so I thought Cookie will get a bench spot at least. But to see him completely out of the squad is a bit disappointing. But if I had to choose out of the 2, I would have gone Appy, to be honest.
I think Hines
he just offers a bit more.
I think Hines takes up that versatility role
Yeah, he
off the
does.
bench if they need him there.
Exactly, yeah.
He
You
can
can
play
put him
anywhere.
in centre as a
Yeah.
fullback.
Yeah.
He could play
Hooker,
anywhere, but
yeah.
That's
it's-
what let Cookie off
but
down a bit.
Well, they've got depth at number 9 anyway. They can put Payne Haas there if they need to.
Payne Haas. I think with the inclusion of Appy, it's very clear that Freddie wants to go through the middle. It's very clear. to me.
I thought Hudson Young deserves his call up.
Oh,
And it's
fantastic.
good to see the youngster get a gig, a starting role.
Made for Origin, but did he take Cameron Murray's spot?
I'm surprised that Cameron Murray has been benched for a debut. Yeah,
This guy's phenomenal.
Cameron Murray
Murray's
is
so
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, look,
And he's the best looking player in the game. I mean, you look at
Yeah.
Cameron Murray in a press conference, he doesn't look like he's played.
you know what? I don't think the run-on team is going to be like they've said here.
You think this will get shifted around?
I think so. And because Murray's going to play in the middle. I don't
Murray would have to start, wouldn't he?
Yeah, look, I would. I'd play him in the middle. I wouldn't play him on an edge because that's not what he's good at. He's good at late footwork at the line. I mean, Yo will definitely be there, and I think maybe Hudson Young will come back onto the bench because the guy he does things that other players can't do. So you don't want him burnt out early, and he's a bit of a mongrel as well. So look, I'll tell you now. Pangai is going to play at best 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Then you need some more mongrel.
Probably in the second half too.
Mongrel rolling. What? No, who?
Pangai. You mean he's going to start for
He's going to
20?
start 20 minutes and take him off.
I'd bring him off the bench. But that's just me.
Yeah, I get that as well. But I think Freddie's thinking about we need something early. We want to set the tone. We want to set the tone. You know what I mean? Because let me say, I just said the opposite team on the other side. Their pack's phenomenal.
Yeah, and we're going to go through that in a
Pack's
moment.
amazing.
Isaiah Yo's Isaiah Yo.
Yeah.
Nothing to be said there. What do you guys think about Tyson Frizzell? Does he
George back.
deserve his spot?
Mr. George back row.
And if not, who would you have there instead?
he's probably had his best year in a long time.
Well,
He's
yeah.
played Origin, so he's
Yeah.
got the experience. But looking at the pack in general, I think it's a top pack. I think it's one of the
Isn't it?
best packs I've
think
seen
so.
New South Wales.
Has anyone
But Tyson's played really well.
has anyone missed out at his expense?
Who was the back row?
Is there anyone? Are there
the-
any
Other
real
guy?
big omissions from New South Wales?
The Manly. The
Wait a
Manly-
second.
Jake
Is Jake
Trebojevic
injured
is
though?
injured.
Jack's injured.
Oh,
Yeah.
he
So he's
pulled
off
out.
the table. Yeah.
Yeah, he
He's
pulled out.
injured, and the
Saifidi boy last year was there. He's not near
He
mentioned.
He hasn't. He hasn't,
He hasn't
done
done
enough.
much.
well, how about the Manly back row?
Which one?
That tall guy.
Olakawatu?
Yeah, he must have missed out here.
He missed out. Well, that Utamungo guy, the other guy got the
Oh, did
Tigers
he?
guy got his spot in
I
19.
would have thought maybe it would have been Frizzell. Frizzell got his
Oh,
job.
Frizzell deserves it, mate. He's been.
I agree. No,
phenomenal.
I agree.
He's-
We said that last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
We said that last week, and you asked
You
me.
know
I
what
said
you're gonna
Frizzell's
get.
in. Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what
No,
you're
no,
gonna
no,
get.
no, no, no. It's
Yeah.
one of the best St George back rows I've seen.
Yeah.
So
Newcastle back row.
Newcastle back row. Sorry.
So on the bench we've got Junior Paulo, Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, Nico Hines. Hard to argue with any of them.
It's just to have a bench like that. That's a dream bench.
And the extended bench is Stephen Croydon and Stefano Utokumano. I can never pronounce that right. Even when he was at Para, I couldn't pronounce it. I will say one thing.
I think Crichton pulled out, by the way.
I know.
Really?
Yeah.
I know. I understand it, but I still find it strange that there are two West Tigers players in the team.
Appy.
They've won 3 games in a year.
Yeah, but Appy.
Appy's an incumbent, more or
Appy's,
less, so.
well, no, I mean incumbent. He's,
Again, incumbent from a team that lost.
Yeah, but he's just
Right?
as good.
Yeah,
He's just as good.
He's
and
the best hooker in.
and
one of the
Stefano
best
has played well in a bad team. But he's on the
Yeah.
bench. He's on the bench of the bench, so he's a reserve.
It would have been him or that Olamatangi, the other guy that you're
So
talking
it's
about.
the same. It's the same.
It's the
thing.
same, mate.
It's the same.
I was
By the way,
expecting the Manly guy, to be honest.
I think
Olakawatu.
Stefano's good enough to be there. He's played Origin in the under 20s. He's
Yeah.
played for Australia
Oh,
in the juniors.
He's a
He's,
great player.
he's a very
Yeah.
good player.
He's a
yeah.
very good player. No, it's good that he's there.
Parramatta didn't want to let him go. They tried to hold on to him,
Oh,
but
is he a
Oh,
Parramatta?
he's a Parajunior.
2 years ago he joined the Tigers.
Oh, wow.
But he left because he wanted game time and he wasn't getting it.
Okay. Okay. Well, he's got it now.
So let's go over to the Cockroaches.
Can I just say that
We're the
Liam
Cockroaches.
Martin,
Oh yes,
yeah,
They're the Cane Toads.
the Cane Toads.
Liam Martin off the bench will be a master stroke. He's doing that for Penrith now,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's penetrating more. I mean, don't get me wrong, when he sits on the edge for Penrith, he's devastating. But he comes through the middle, and he's proven his weight. And we talked about Cameron, and talked about Let's go to the Cane Toads.
the Cane Toads. Reece Walsh. Should he be there? So Ponga was dropped.
You're gonna find
Nah.
this very strange. I would have put Ponga in.
No, I'm just really confused with the Queenslanders because they're very loyal and they stick. And Ponga was one of the best.
Stick and
Now,
flick, mate.
Gordon Tallis earlier on the show said that they're doing it. It's a well-being thing where they think he copped a soft knock during Manly in the Origin arena. It's a lot more brutal, so they're sort of more protecting him than anything
That's
else.
a good point.
So that's why they're sort of not rushing him. And if he pulls up through 4, because the next one is 4 games away. So if he gets 4 good, strong games under his belt, then he might get his spot back straight away.
Yeah.
But that's how they're looking at it. But I found it a strange call. But Russell did the job. He's been phenomenal.
He's been awesome this
He's
season.
next in line anyway. So
I've seen Queensland do what New South Wales haven't done.
exactly.
Queensland have dropped 4 players and picked on form. New South Wales haven't. Selwyn Cobbo, Valentine Holmes.
Selwyn Cobbo, the good thing is there's always a mistake in Selwyn. You can always guarantee a mistake in Selwyn.
Was
And Reece is, at the end of the day, we can say what we want about Reece. The kid's electric.
he's
when he gets
awesome.
the ball
Yeah.
on
Yes.
outside shoulders, he's
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
electric.
He
He's
is.
going to burn someone.
Has Val Holmes done enough to retain his spot?
Again, he's an incumbent. He's been playing. It's weird because Valentine Holmes made it because he's been really good at Origin level, but so's Gagai. And Gagai, who had 22 games straight for Queensland, didn't get picked. So why would you pick Valentine or not Gagai?
Yeah, I'm not surprised about Gagai because he's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
But he's also at the back end of his career and he hasn't been setting the world on fire
I don't
for
know.
Newcastle. And how loyal do you have to be? I mean, he's played 22 games. At some point, at some point you got to make changes if you want to keep things fresh.
Yeah, but
So the Hammer's taken.
the Hammer's taken.
The Hammer's taken Gagai, and you know what? I'll tell you the difference. I would have picked Gagai, but it's a masterstroke from Billy because he's seen what you saw. He's
Yeah.
getting a bit old. He hasn't played well. Now to throw the dice and say he's going to all of a sudden become a superhuman being, okay? Because last year he didn't play well either.
No.
He played good enough.
But in Origin he played well.
No, he played good
It
enough.
was all right.
He played good enough, Artie, and they said that on the shows today that he played good enough. I would have put him in, but you know what? He's probably looking for the future as well. He's put the Hammer and Val. He might have had a shocker on Sunday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Saturday against the Tigers, but he's been playing well in a bad team.
Class is permanent, mate, and form is temporary. So you're right.
Murray Tuilagi. You happy with him?
He's
Yeah?
a good player. He's definitely a future. I can see him playing 20, 30 games for Queensland. He's been phenomenal.
Great carries, dirty carries. That's you know what, in Origin you're doing more dirty carries than attacking carries. So yeah, he fits the bill.
Munster and Cherry Evans picked themselves.
Themselves, mate.
I've got to be honest with you. As I'm looking at this Queensland team, I don't see a weakness.
There's no weakness. There's no weakness.
Thomas Flegler.
Love Flegs.
Flegler.
Love Fleg. A C and an E.
Him and Collins, mate.
Him and Collins. What a work rate,
They are
workhorse
huge.
combination you have
You-
there.
You know what? He's Collins probably only a C, not an E. But as you said, tackles galore.
Yeah.
40 tackles.
Ben Hunt at hooker.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's been the best Queensland hooker of the last 5 years. Hey. He's
You know
won,
what?
two or three times he's won player of the series?
He's keeping Harry Grant out. So
Yeah.
that says something, doesn't it?
It says a lot.
He does the heavy work.
It says a lot.
And Grant works the ruck. Yeah.
And the versatility of Hunt, that if he needs to move into the halves,
Yep.
he can as well.
Brilliant.
Now, you said that previously that Gagai's getting on a bit. Well, Ben Hunt's 33. So
But the difference is Ben Hunt is still playing really good footy.
yeah, I suppose. Not a hooker, though.
Well,
Oh, it doesn't matter. He's
No,
playing good
no, you're
football.
right.
Yeah, he's
I
a good
mean,
footballer. Yeah, he's been
playing
phenomenal.
based on that logic that we just spoke about, it would be time to start Harry Grant and put Ben Hunt on the bench, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, sort of develops there, yeah.
David Fafita, Tom Gilbert, Patrick Carrigan.
Welcome back,
What-
Fafita. Dave, you know what?
He's earned it.
What's your thoughts on that? Because you've
Love
been
it.
his biggest critic.
I've been his biggest critic. You know why I'm his biggest critic? Because we know what he can do.
Yeah.
And he doesn't do it. Forget the money part. I just want to see good rugby league. And this year, and a lot of people are crediting Foreign. I don't know who's helped him. I don't know what's happened. But this year he's got the balance of being that tearaway and that workhorse. So he's got the perfect balance. So you know what? He will be dangerous.
I reckon Foreign's got something to do with it.
think so
I watched that game the other day and I was saying to myself, yesterday, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I was saying to myself, this team, win or lose, they've just been a better team this year. And I see Foreign is involved in everything. Off
Yeah.
the ball as well. Just getting in their ear and that.
No. I think he'll stay up there. I think when he finishes, I think he might get a coaching gig up there because he's good. He's been good for him. He's been good, very good for.
Now I've got a bit of an issue with the interchange bench, because everyone knows about my man crush on Tino.
Big Tino.
How's Tino on the bench? Seriously,
Oh, he's going to come on. He's going to
Impact.
He's going to impact everything.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name because I still can't.
Doesn't matter. Big Tino's the one.
Folks
Harry
want-
Grant, Ruben Cotter, Jai Arrow. What a bench!
Mm,
Man, when Cotter and Arrow come in the middle,
that's a
and
great
just-
bench.
Oh man, Arrow's a weapon, man.
And
Arrow's a weapon.
the extended bench is Tom Dearden and Christian Welch. I thought Welch might have been a bit unlucky to miss out, but
Yeah,
he hasn't. He's had a pretty quiet season, hasn't he?
Well, he's been all right, but who do you take out? That's the
Yeah.
thing. Who do you take out? I mean, Carrigan is one of the best locks. Tom Gilbert,
Tom Gilbert's been phenomenal.
he's a
I mean,
weapon.
Well,
He's-
yeah.
He is a scary weapon, Gilbert. He whacks people.
So he's a big loss to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So
No,
they're
yeah.
missing him big time.
Absolutely, he's a big loss to the Cowboys.
So based on what we're looking at in front of us, what are your predictions for this? What's the outcome going to be?
The first one's a very important game.
I'm-
Can you ask me next Monday?
Yeah, we probably should wait till next Monday because We'll know more by that point. But
Yeah.
I'll say one thing before we move on. Both squads are the most balanced
Yeah.
squads I've seen for maybe a decade. New South Wales are favourites, but for me, it's even Stevens. It's about now preparation and about mentality. And if the myth is correct that Queensland kids are born and told a lie, Queensland will win. But if the myth is just a myth and it's a 50-50 game, okay, New South Wales got so much more firepower. You know what I mean? So it's going to be. I can't wait. I'm excited, Nicole.
I
I'm
don't know,
so
yeah.
excited.
Based
I
on-
don't know.
Based on that, I
don't
think
know.
Queensland will win.
I don't know. You know what? The first one's important because the second game they go to Suncorp. Good luck.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
luck beating Queensland in Suncorp. Good luck.
All right. Well, let's. So next Monday night will be interesting. We'll be two days away from it,
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait.
and obviously we'll have some updates, and we'll know a little bit more by that point as well.
Yeah.
Let's look at the week that was.
Apparently, Wayne Pearce is going to do some activities with
Take
us.
him horse riding?
So we might see some changes. We might see some last minute forwards getting.
I remember
replaced.
poor old Robbie Kern saying, "I'd never sat on a horse in my life," and then he broke his collarbone.
Bastard.
A lot of people listening won't know what we're talking about.
And of course we're going to have the flu sweep in the camp.
Oh yeah.
That every year.
Oh, for
Flu's
sure.
going to
The
sweep
flu's
camp.
going to sweep one of the camps. Players won't train. All of that bullshit.
There'll be 4 of them under
Yeah.
late.
That's usually the Queenslanders,
late
right?
pressure. Yeah.
Every
late,
year.
late fitness tests.
Funny
and they're
stuff.
underdogs too, by the way.
Yeah, and
They're
all-
underdogs.
And, they're
And
gonna
they're
and
underdogs.
there's a stomach bug. Will go
Oh,
through
always the bug.
hotel, yeah.
Always the bug. Always the bug.
Absolutely.
The mandatory bug. I love it.
Let's look at the week that was. So I'll just run through the games from round 12. So we had the Panthers beating the Broncos 15 points to 4. The Dragons upsetting the Roosters 24 points to 22. The Eels upsetting the Rabbitohs 36 points to 16. Sharks beating the Knights 26 points to 6. Here's a big one. The Tigers beating the Cowboys 66 points to 18.
Hello.
Did you say 66?
66. That's more points than they've scored.
Crazy.
That's more points than they scored like in a long time. Storm beat the Dolphins 24 points to 16, and the Bulldogs got home in a nail biter 20 points to 18 over the Titans.
2 more points.
So let's start with the first game. I
Wasn't there a
thought
game after that too? Newcastle? No, Canberra and. There was a game after that, wasn't there?
you're right. I haven't got the Canberra game here. My bad.
Canberra-
Canberra lost to Manly.
42 to
Yeah,
14 or something, yeah.
that's my bad. Bad screenshot. Thanks for that, Artie.
No worries.
Con's going to love me for that one.
Yeah, 42-14.
Opening the round, Panthers 15 points to 4 over the Broncos. I thought once Adam Reynolds was ruled out, I never thought the game was going to be that close, even though it was.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Same point I was going to say. I thought the Broncos did very well considering the setbacks they had. But what a quality game, both teams. It was a fast game, very entertaining. And I really enjoyed this game. Penrith are back. Hey? A few
Yeah.
weeks ago, you guys were ready to write them off, but they're back. They're back. What do you
back.
think, George?
They're back. You know what? I haven't had so much fun
Yeah.
watching a game. This was so good, and
Yep.
I'm going to dub this the best game of the season.
Yep.
You know what? I keep on saying that the Penrith attack is clunky, but I think this is it. This is what we're going to get. How they might get a little bit more smoother,
Yeah.
but this is it. This is what I have to accept now. There's no more kick out running 20 meters and getting them out of trouble. Nor on that dangerous once dangerous left hand side. Him being the decoy and everybody following him and Luai cutting out to the wingers. So they were good. They were brutal. Their defense, Nico, is so brutal, and I loved it. And you know what? Broncos gave as good as they got. Don't worry about the score. And I actually don't think if Reynolds was in not the score might have changed, but I still think Penrith would have won.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed this game, and all the same culprits played well. Sonny Luke came on, but can I just say I love Zach Hoskin and I love Sorensen.
Yeah.
And
Sorensen's been having a great season.
and you know what? I want the referees to put their whistle in their pockets when the two front rowers from each team are sorting their shit out. Okay, let them sort them out. I don't know if you saw it. But
Hello?
the first 10 minutes they were going at each other. Okay, and Flegler and Haas was absolutely attacking Fisher Harris and
Yep.
Leota.
Leota.
It was awesome.
They were attacking each other hard, and obviously the Penrith pack got on top because it's the first time that Payne Haas made under 100 metres.
Well, this is what I want to see in
I'm going to
Origin.
say it again. It's the first time Payne Haas made under 100 metres running metres.
Yeah.
Usually he makes 180 to 200.
Yeah.
Okay, and they kept him under 100 metres. And their their defence will keep them in every game, Penrith. But I loved it. It was the best.
It was good.
What about Artie? I've got to turn to you on this one. Dragons 24 over the Roosters 22. Now, we all,
Wow.
after what happened to the Roosters last week, we're all expecting a response.
We were.
But the Dragons were good.
I must admit, last time we did the podcast, we didn't get the news about Hook getting dismissed. So I didn't know what lineup to look for.
Yeah.
And as soon as we saw the lineup, got a bit of optimism because he put Lomax
He brought him back, yeah.
on the right side as well. He
Lomax
swapped them back.
kicked the match-winning goal.
Kicked the match-winning goal. So he changed a few things that we've all been crying about. And the effort, everything was there. All the boys were there and playing hard. It was good to see. One point I want to talk about, which freaked me out, was Victor Radley. I don't know how he didn't get Simbin. Like, we've been watching Simbin after Simbin, and that was a pretty bad incident. It was a headbutt. It was
And the thing that irritates me is everyone keeps defending Radley.
No, that
He's
was,
doing stupid
Wait a
things.
minute. You used to defend Radley.
Yeah, I did. I'm a
You
culprit
used
for that.
to defend. I'll tell you what I think about Radley. But go on.
He's doing stupid. Like, it's one thing when he does a tackle, which doesn't look that bad, but because it's Simbi, whatever, you know. But headbutting and doing stupid shit like that, he should have gone to the bin.
But if you watch that closely, Zach Lomax tried to strip the ball out of the guy's hand. He back-slammed him, right? The guy's head did not hit the ground. He hit his back.
Yeah.
And then later he put his back, right? And then he started rubbing his head. And that's what got the Radley fired up and started it all. If that guy didn't touch his head and just got up and played, it would have been fine. Anyway, they ended up getting a penalty for it. The Roosters got a penalty after giving a headbutt, which was
The Roosters get the
absolutely
penalty.
crazy. Yeah, the Roosters got the penalty. And now Victor Radley's serving 3 to 4 weeks. Now,
You
we've
know
seen
why?
guys-
First of all, he deserves to.
Yeah.
And second of all, it's because the Roosters have been making so much noise
Yeah.
in recent weeks about Radley's getting picked out and picked out. And then the referees are scared to do something now because they succumb to pressure.
He's a thug. But the thing is, we've seen now guys get suspended, and then later the match review committee gives them no weeks, not even a fine, nothing. And now we're seeing a guy who's 3 to 4 weeks suspended and didn't get Simbi.
Well, if you remember, that's what
ridiculous.
last week we ran through all of the weekend's bad refereeing calls about players who got sin binned and not charged by the match review committee, and this is the opposite.
The opposite, yeah, which is terrible. But yeah, with Radley, he's I defended him a lot, but what I saw on Friday, he's a thug. He easily gets he sparks up very easily, and he just pushes his weight around, and it just went too far, and it cost Roosters the game.
Absolutely,
he does.
Absolutely. The Radley bit. We keep on defending him. We keep on defending him. I think the game's past him personally. I think the way he plays, beside the thuggery, okay, or beside his aggression, okay, the style he plays is probably a style of yesteryear now. Okay, either Robbo changes his style,
He's already publicly come out and said that he won't.
or then he goes to England.
But see, I've got no
Go
problem.
Super League.
I've got no problems with his aggression, right? And some of these tackles, I think maybe he has been treated differently when you see so many of those tackles. But
He
when it
headbutted
comes to
somebody.
stuff like this,
He headbutted somebody.
it's complete. That's what I'm talking about. That's not a tackle, right? That's
It's 1973, maybe.
he's just an idiot.
He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
And
You know what?
That needs to be punished.
And you know what he's actually doing? The non-discipline. Okay, just damaging his team.
Well,
That's
his
what he's
coach
doing.
needs to, because the team's not going well. Trent Robertson needs to stop hiding behind his desk and defending them.
We're going to talk about
Yeah.
them later, so I'm not going to go into about that. Let me talk about the game. And you're right on before I get into it. Okay, the refereeing this round was atrocious.
It's been pretty
The
bad.
bunkers, even worse. Okay, what's a hip drop? You know, even little things. What's offside? So we won't get into that. Let's the game. This game, Nicola, relief, happiness. I saw smiles on people's faces,
Dragons,
mate.
yeah.
Okay, I saw aggression. I saw passion. Mate. I haven't seen that for maybe a year. Okay, I saw will to win. Okay, it was a great spectacle in terms of score, in terms of the last minute comeback. But was it a high quality game? We all know it wasn't. Okay,
But they're not always the best games to watch. This one and the Bulldogs game, they were both nail biters. They were
Yes.
more fun to watch.
they were fun to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, the Dragons came out at a very fast pace and put a few points on, 12 points on. Okay, in the second half, Roosters spark a bit, and can I say it was led by Teddy. Teddy was the one who sparked the team. Well, you know what? He stripped right at the end of the game. He stripped the ball and scored a try, and it looked like the game was over. Trent in the coaching box was celebrating already, and on the last play, as we know what happened, a couple of kicks, actually Ben Hunt went on the blind side, which he shouldn't have done. It was the wrong option.
I
But
was really
couple of
surprised at the
kicks.
sliding defenders from the Roosters.
they're not defending.
With that last try the Dragons scored.
Yeah, they're not defending.
I was expecting just more urgency to defend that.
No. Well, we'll talk about that later because we'll talk about the Roosters later. But
It's good vision by Sloan to kick it in that direction.
yeah, look,
Yeah.
and what kills me is I said, and it's over now, and it's going to be a new chapter, okay. But I look at Sloan and Fairney and Amoni, and I'm just thinking that they could have had 50 games and left the belt. So, but you know what? Dragons won. They got
Dragons
2 points,
won.
and they put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces. Nicola.
It's funny though because Dragons beat the Roosters, and at the end of the season, at the end of the round, they're coming last.
Yeah.
After beating the Roosters, you're last. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But yeah,
So the second game on Friday night was my beloved Eels beating the Rabbitohs in Indigenous round. It really doesn't get better than that.
Talk to me.
Look, it was a good game. Latrell was pretty quiet in the first half, but he came alive late in the first half. He had some nice touches to put on try. I think with about 5 minutes to go in the first half, the commentator said he had one run for 1 metre.
Yeah,
So it was a pretty quiet first half. But look, at the end of the day, I thought Parra deserved it. They did well. It was a decent game. What do you guys think?
there was a period with it, last 22 minutes where Parramatta scored 4 tries. Before that, it was pretty close, but then they just ran away with it. I thought Dylan Brown was really good. He played fantastic.
He's been good for a few weeks now.
Yeah, he's been getting better and better all the time. But yeah, the forwards just dominated. The Parramatta forwards were so good. Greg
Winamu, Greg.
he had a good game.
They
He was very
also they
solid.
lost Davey in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, true.
And then Ryan Madison replaced him, and they lost him as well.
Yeah, so big
So
effort
their
by
bench
the
was
forwards.
tested.
Yeah, and they stood up.
Yeah.
Parramatta's back.
Yeah. Look,
I don't know if they're back yet. You got to win 2 games in a row.
Well, they've beaten Penrith now. They've beaten South, and they've beat some other
But
big gun.
an
They've beaten Fred
interesting
Topside.
stat is that they've lost 7 games this season. And you know what the margin is? You know what their biggest loss margin is this season?
4.
10 points.
Yeah, there you go.
They've all been close games.
Well, the for and against is positive,
Yeah.
and they're supposedly in the middle of the pack. Nicola, the stands were full with 27,000 people. all the brothers were in the stands, being Indigenous Day.
Yeah.
You'd think that the South Sydney team would be on a high, but they didn't play like that, mate. They came out,
No.
and you can tell. I always say you can tell the engagement of the team with how Latrell Mitchell is engaging. You know how the rest of the team is going. I'm going to go first, South Sydney. Okay. About this time last year, young Ilias had, let's say, a few hiccups, and the coach didn't put him in the Reggies. He persevered with him, and he came good. We're getting to that same time again this year.
They targeted him on Friday night.
They targeted him, but you know what? All he has to do is pass it to the guy next to him and kick. When you kick out in the full, you give the ball back to Parramatta and they score 3 times,
Yeah.
and you miss. They spot you up and you miss 2 tackles, and one of them leads to a try. Okay, you've got some homework to do with your coach. So it's this time last year this scenario happened, and I'm sure that Dimitri won't put him to the Reggies, but it's time for a bit of a refresh with him. He's still a young man trying to find his feet. Now Parramatta, they're actually outstanding.
Mm.
They've played. They haven't played like this all year, and let me tell you a subtle difference I saw. I always say that one of the best things about Penrith, and they're still doing it, they can have a shot at you after a shot, and they're still doing that. Clunky, but they're still doing that. Guess what Parramatta did for the first time? They went shot, set up, shot, set up, shot, set up, and I loved it. And you know what? Moses didn't do it all. It was both. It was Brown and Moses. So they'll set up and they'll shoot with Moses. Then they'll set up and they'll shoot with Brown. And the defensive line didn't know where they're coming from. Okay, and Bailey Simons got most of the and Russell, but Bailey Simons got most of the love out of that.
He had a really good game.
It was outstanding.
It was an interesting tactic that Brad Arthur used to pull the wool over the eyes of the Rabbitohs team as well. He made Clint Gutherson get a haircut to look like Cameron Murray. Did you notice that? That might have caused some confusion in the line. Yeah.
I did notice a haircut, but that's a good one, Nicola. But you know what? Their game is evolving. Their game is evolving, and I believe this weekend with the when they run out, there won't be one forward that played in the last year's grand final, if I'm not wrong.
Well, Parramatta's decimated by Origin selections this weekend
as well.
We got one player.
Well, you've got there's more injuries.
Actually, no. Well,
do a lot of
Paris playing the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have got 3 or 4 players in Origin. 3 or 4. So there's no excuse for not winning this weekend, but we'll get to that after anyway. But yeah, no, it was a good win. Very happy, obviously. Sharks 26-6 over Newcastle. No real surprises for me.
Yeah, I thought it would be a lot closer game, to be honest. But the Sharks were just too good. Will Kennedy's awesome player. I just like watching him play. He's fantastic. But I thought, I don't know, it was just Cronulla was just in control the whole time. Yeah. But you know what? Look, the completion rate was terrible for both teams. It was only 65 and 67%. So pretty poor. A lot of errors. But yeah, Sharks made it look easy, I think.
Cronulla never really got out of second gear.
They didn't, mate. No.
They never really got out of second gear. What I like about Cronulla, their pattern of play is really attractive. How they can sweep the ball from one side to another is very well. It's damaging, but it's really nice to watch. Cronulla's really nice to watch. You know what? If Cronulla doesn't want Connor Tracy, there'll be about 17 other teams or 16 other teams.
There's a rumour that Parramatta might be signing him today.
That's gold.
That's the rumour.
He's
so
gold.
Gowie and Connor Tracy. Wow.
That's the rumour. Yeah.
There's your strike weapon.
By the way, I saw that on Facebook from one of the rugby league sites. So
let's hope so, because there's your strike player.
Yeah.
He was outstanding. He gave Best a real bath, and he gave and Raymond gave Gagai a bath as well. So look, again, Cronulla never really got out of first gear. They won well. Newcastle just had one of those days which.
Is it fair to say there's a couple of Newcastle players who might have played themselves out of the Origin?
Absolutely.
In Ponga and Gagai?
Look, Ponga, he came back on after the concussion, but he was concussed. I mean, he didn't even, when he got up, he didn't play the ball squarely. He was facing the other way. He got penalised for it. And I don't even think Tyson had an outstanding game. So
George, you have to get our wonder boy Anthony to somehow make a short of this on that video that you showed me last weekend from the 80s where a South player was literally picked up and it's not even a speed tackle, it's a dead set pole driver, right, on his head, dumped on his head and gets up and plays the ball the wrong way and gets penalised.
I love it. I love that one.
He gets penalised for playing the ball the wrong way. I love it.
Wow.
Bring that back. I know it's really dangerous, but it's fun to watch when you're not out there.
After 11 rounds of being very good, Lockie Miller didn't really have. It wasn't one of his best games. And what Artie told me, it looks like he's been dropped. Or they're trying to protect Callum Ponga and they're putting him at fullback, which I think is probably a smart move in terms of protecting him.
The problem is you can't hide him, right? All of his previous concussions have come at fullback. So the guy's either up to it or he's not, or he might need some time away or he might not. But you can't hide him on the field.
I honestly believe he got concussed again.
You can't hide him.
And
They got cleared. They did all the testing and everything.
He got cleared. Okay, so look, he got cleared, but it just seems like he's got a glass jaw. Is that the wrong word?
Incidentally, no, it's not. But incidentally, because I don't, does anyone know what the concussion test is comprised of when they go off the field for 15 minutes?
They just ask him some questions.
About what?
Well, they ask you questions at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Then they ask you the same questions in concussion.
Do you know what nature of questions?
No, I don't.
Because I'm just real curious.
No, me too, actually. I haven't
I'm real curious.
Can I say the man of the match was Will Kennedy and deserved every.
He's great.
Yeah.
Deserved everything.
He's going to be one of those guys that will never play Origin.
Yeah.
He's going to like Peachy was, and he never really played Origin. But it was fantastic.
What happened in the next game? Tigers 66, Cowboys 18. Now, wonderful for the Tigers. It's about time their fans have had something to really smile about.
Yeah.
It's good to see. As far as the Cowboys goes, I'd hate to be Todd Payne at the moment.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
They're definitely not the same as last year, that's for sure. But I just want to quickly touch on the Tigers. That Jareem Buller, what a fantastic young little individual that is. Yeah, the fullback. He was fantastic. Toa Start. That had Tim Sheens written all over that performance, the attack-wise, wasn't it? Their attack's getting there. Their defence was improving the last few weeks. Now it looks like they're tweaking with the attack, and it's getting there.
It was always just going to be a matter of time.
Yeah. And Brooks is looking happy, and he's looking really good, actually. But with the Cowboys, that's the biggest mystery because who are they missing? They're missing Leilua was back. They're missing Tomalolo and maybe a couple others, but it's not much different to what they had last year. So
Tim Sheens really lashed out in the press conference.
Yeah, he wasn't
at
happy.
all of Luke Brooks's critics and said now they can all stick it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fair enough, but he's played 2 good games in 5 years. Maybe you should hold off a little bit before you start firing shots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well,
but that Brendan Wakeman's doing okay. The guy that picked up from the Dogs, he's been helping out Brooks. He's solid. So maybe they found the right partner for him.
The Tigers absolutely destroyed them, especially in the second half. Was it 42 points or something?
Yeah, that's right.
So props to them. It's about time they've had something good to really celebrate.
Exactly. Imagine the Tiger supporters that night. They would have been cheering so hard. It was phenomenal. I've got a rumour there from Josephina as well. There was an injury for that game.
In the salon, what happened?
Yeah, so what happened was she just got word that Ivan Icardi he's out for the season.
Who?
Ivan Icardi, the guy that changes the scoreboard. He tore his shoulder. So he's out.
He tore his shoulder.
66 points.
Mate. It was a lot of work, mate. He just changed it. Those numbers are heavy, to change them around or something.
Maybe it's time they got an electric scoreboard.
Yeah,
maybe. But it's the mistake of the ground. And,
exactly.
And what he had a lot of he's never had so many people looking at him. I noticed changing the score. See everybody looking up there.
Exactly, mate.
And he got rated at the end of the game as well.
Yeah, exactly. Can I get you guys to clarify something as well? The Egyptian, the only Egyptian Cowboy supporter in the world. I spoke to him today. He was disgusted with the performance.
That should be.
There was one incident that he pointed out, which I wasn't aware of, but apparently at the end of the game, they changed the scoreboard to 66-0. And he found that very disrespectful. Did you see it? No. Honestly, he goes, it was disgusting. He goes, no, I'm being serious now.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking you. You didn't hear about it?
I didn't see it, no.
I'm surprised I didn't mention it in the press or anything.
Are you sure that happened?
Well, he said he saw it on TV. They got rid of it and they just put the zero,
so
and
that-
everyone was cheering 66-0.
That was when
I wouldn't make much of that.
the public rated. That's when they rated the box.
I'm not sure, man.
So what happened was that when he left, the guy got injured.
No,
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
they all jumped
must
into
have, yeah.
they all jumped into the
He
box.
got ambulance. He got
He
carried
got
out.
ambulance. It's 4 to 6 weeks that injury.
They must
You
have,
can't change any numbers, but they all rated the box. So maybe that's when they did it. But tell the only Egyptian in the world who supports the Cowboys that they've got a few more issues than
it's
a zero.
what are the issues you reckon, guys?
Maybe last year they had a great year. Obviously, they made a prelim, you know. But maybe the hard-nosed thing has worn off.
Yeah.
Maybe Peyton, whose praises we were singing this time last year, maybe he needs to make some adjustments in his coaching style because whatever he's doing, it's going horribly wrong.
Yeah.
All season.
Didn't you say that a few weeks ago he flogged them? Like he absolutely flogged them,
And it
they
worked
won,
that week.
They responded.
They responded, but maybe
And no disrespect to the Tigers, who, by the way, had 2 or 3 terrible losses at Leichhardt Oval. That's their spiritual home ground. No disrespect to the Tigers, but for any team to cop 66 off the Tigers at this point of this season, where the Tigers have done so poorly up until this point, you got problems.
yeah.
Or were the Tigers just that shit hot that they were unstoppable?
Well, yeah. If you don't tackle,
I don't want to take any credit away from them.
Yeah, we don't want to take credit from
no.
them. That's for sure.
If you don't tackle anyone, you're shit hot. If you haven't got no opposition, you're shit hot. Now there was 12,000 people at the ground, Nicola. That's probably full house for Leichhardt Oval. And the best part of this whole game was like the St George game. Okay, the relief I saw and the happiness I saw. And people singing, okay, in the
Same.
stands, and we go at we go at Brooks hard, but you know what? He actually looked good. He actually played very well. Okay, look, kids like Staffatoa and Tommy Talau, and
Talau's leaving them. He's signed.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yes, he did. He signed with someone.
Was it the Cowboys? He signed with someone for next season, yeah.
It's a shame because they've put so much work in.
I can't remember who now, but it's
so much work into these kids, and Adi was already mentioned Bulla, which he does look part of it, and next year's going to look even better. So I think it's a matter of time. You know what? Can I just say, Clemmer came over, and I wasn't convinced, but he's been one of the best.
He's been good.
And Appy, we spoke about Appy, and I'm not sure if you watched the game. He put 4 forwards over to score tries off his assists. So
John Bateman's been good.
John Bateman,
he's scheduled to leave. Ngawi, he scored a couple of tries too.
Yeah, he's scheduled to leave. Where's he going again?
Eels.
To Eels, yeah.
Well, he's already went there and done a medical.
Yeah, strange that was strange.
But then the Tigers pulled him back for a week, so I don't know what's going to happen now.
Very strange how that all happened, but you're getting him anyway, and he's a good buy. You know what? The real question for this game is what's happening with the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's the real question.
absolutely.
And you know what?
Yeah,
with the Roosters, I have an idea. With the Cowboys, I've got no idea.
yeah.
they were coming off 2 wins. They had 2 back-to-back wins.
You know what? They have had a lot of injury disruption this season. Key players.
Yeah, they have. Tom Olala's been out, and
They've had players missing for 4 or 5 weeks come back, so they haven't really had a.
But 66 points.
Oh, there's no excuse for that. No, and again, no disrespect to the Tigers, but you're talking about a team who's coming. Are they last or second last? To put the Tigers.
Last.
Second last.
To put 66 points on last year's preliminary finalists.
But yeah,
I know.
but you know what?
Finalists.
McLean, Robinson, Haas, Lukey,
yeah.
Loa, whatever his name is, and Cotter. I mean, that's a good pack.
That's a
I mean,
decent
they
pack.
should not get flogged.
Jordan
You got
McLean, yeah, he's back. What?
and look, you got Chad Dearden.
Yeah,
Look, they're full strength.
what I'm
Close
saying.
too.
Peter Hiku just signed. I think he's leaving next
he's
year.
going to England.
He's going to
Yeah,
England, yeah.
Well, good for him. He'll be a superstar there. And Drinky, like I said, with Drinky, he'll score you 3 tries. He'll let in 3, 2. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
It'd be
That's-
interesting to see.
Drinky's
Like I
drinky.
said, they're playing the Eels this weekend, but they're pretty heavily impacted by Origin.
Yeah.
The Cowboys.
You know
There's
what?
3 or 4 players missing.
Can I just say the biggest disappointment this year is the Cowboys.
Oh, without question.
by far,
At the moment, yeah.
by far. At
Without
the
question.
moment, yeah, because how the comp is, you could win 6 and you're top 8.
Peyton's
so
got to be under some serious pressure at the moment.
There's something doing.
Was he coach of the year last year?
Yeah,
I think
it
so.
was.
Oh my God.
He
How can you
was.
drop from coach of the year
Yeah.
to under pressure?
What I like about the next game, the Storm beat the Dolphins 24 points to 16. Again, I love the fact that it was 8 points. The Dolphins, they're in the fight every week, whether win or lose.
Yeah,
It's always a good spirited performance.
that is. And Felice Kafusi's finding out, hey, that once you take off that jersey, the purple jersey,
The rules change.
the rules change a little bit. What do you think of the hit? Was it
I
a
don't
deserved
know.
hit? Do you think he'll get? Because is he going to fight it? What's
Every
happening
time
there?
I defend the
He's got-
guy,
he's
he
got-
cops 4 weeks.
He's got 6 weeks.
Oh, he's got 6
He's got
weeks.
6 weeks.
He did
I
he?
thought he might
No, he's got
challenge
6
it.
weeks. No, he's got
Kafusi and Nelson partners might go in and
The law firm there,
The law
Kafusi,
firm,
Kafusi and Nelson
yeah.
Law
Do you
Firm.
think 6 weeks is fair?
I thought it was 4 weeks.
Maybe it's 4 weeks, but I think
Do you think 4 weeks is fair?
you know what I
It
think.
was a bad hit.
I'll tell you what I think. I think all his skeletons are coming back to haunt him. That's what I think. Okay,
Absolutely.
unfortunately.
Does he have any of the Victor Radley thing where he's targeted by
he's just-
officials?
No,
No.
because
Well,
when
he
he,
was
Because
getting
he's
away
had
with it
more
for that how
incidents than
many
Radley
years.
has.
Yeah, but he hasn't been suspended. He's been getting
he's never.
fined.
Hey,
I
If you
can't
look, if you
believe-
look at his
I
record,
c-
he's been paying fines.
I can't believe he got 4 weeks earlier this season for that tackle. But you're right. In previous seasons, he's been fined
He's
when
been fined.
when you think he would have been suspended.
when you take the purple jersey off,
Yeah.
and this is a fact, right? Because what he did, what he's done at the Storm, you can't compare to what he's doing now. Okay, and his mate too. What's that big
Nelson.
bloke? Yeah, Nelson. That's right. Okay. His chickens have come back to haunt him. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. Okay. You know what? I love him. I really do. He's aggressive.
Yeah.
Okay, it's everything you need. Okay, he was. I don't know if you saw the game when he panned around. The camera panned around. I saw his eyes. Okay, he was in a different world. He
I
wanted.
love it.
He wanted to put someone away.
I love it.
Someone away. He did put. The only issue is he's going to get 4 weeks for it.
The game's gone soft.
Did you see? Did you see? They got a segment on the Matty John show, and it's Hindy and Fletch, and they're playing around with him.
I've got to be honest with you, I can't watch those two.
It's funny because at the start off season they were massaging with that, and they were giving him. They always interview him, and they said to Felice, "Oh, how are you going to go when you play the Storm?" Just mucking around. He goes, "Who are you going to smash?" And he goes, "I want to get what's his name? The guy that he got, the
The
forward.
guy that he got.
The forward. What was his name? The guy that's in Origin. The guy that got picked. What's his name, man?
I don't
The
know.
guy that's on the bench for Queensland.
Welch.
Welsh. He goes, yeah, I'm going to give Welsh a big one. I'm going to get him.
We got him.
Yeah,
But
and then
we'll-
at the end, he ended up getting him.
But Welsh was having fun with it. He was smiling at him,
yeah.
and he's just giving him
They're good
best. It was
friends.
great.
They're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
But
they're probably the best friends.
funny, that.
Can I just say something? John Creese, senior, absolute filthy.
Yeah.
In the box, he looked like someone stole his dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I love about him.
Absolute angry.
Craig Bellamy.
He thinks the second half was terrible. That's what he said in his press conference. But you know what? The fact of the matter is, Dolphins just hang around.
They do.
They hang
They've been
around.
really impressive.
Culture, man. They
Yeah.
hang around.
Yeah.
Okay. They had no right to be that close.
And the Bulldogs, 20 points to 18 over the Gold Coast.
Score didn't tell us the story.
Nail
Nicola.
biter, George. Tell
Yeah.
us about it.
The score didn't tell us the story, Nicola. I thought the Bulldogs were terrible, personally. First half especially.
Yeah. I think the Titans didn't capitalise, They were the much better team, but they
Much
just didn't
better
score many
team.
points.
But second half they came out and they started showing something. But my question is, did they start showing something, or did the Titans do what the Titans do and put the Q in the rack? And I think
They got a bad record in
Yeah,
second half.
they sure do. They sure do. I think the refereeing was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was especially in the second half.
Reed
So many
Marnie,
terrible
Yeah,
calls.
was that a hip drop? Really?
No,
Honestly?
No.
We
no.
got-
But there were so many of those calls that were just ridiculous.
Look, the
What,
referee.
sorry, what about the Tino forearm, which he got off with a fine?
Yeah. Oh, well, we know why.
Well, Marnie had to go in the HIA,
Yeah.
but he didn't hit his head on the ground.
No.
So why did he have to go off for a HIA? Because he got head contact, right? So let's have a look at the head contact. I love Tino, but the fucking forearm was up here,
You
right?
know what? If
it was a
ra-
forearm to the head.
if it was round 2, he would have got 4 weeks.
It was a
But-
forearm to the head.
Yeah. But guess what? Next Wednesday there's a game to play. So
They went back and looked at it and cleared the
Oh,
forearm.
of course they did. Of course they did. Of course they did. Look, the game wasn't refereed well. You know what? If anyone can catch Burton's bombs, if Campbell or Fafita or Kelly or Shop could have caught Burton's bombs, Bulldogs.
That's it.
Yeah, Bulldogs. That was the difference. The
That was the
Bulldogs.
difference, yeah.
The Bulldogs wouldn't have been nowhere near the Titans. I'm actually upset the Titans lost, because that's 2 points that they're not going to get back this year. And I think the Titans were a better team over the 80 minutes. I don't think Canterbury deserved anything out of this game. And I think they're terrible.
They hung in there. Their defence is good.
I think you're being a bit harsh on the Bulldogs.
No, I'm not. They come in second last. So I don't think nothing's changed from
Yeah,
last
but you
year.
know what, George? The only way is up, right?
Well, that's true, Nicola. Next year,
Look, they got the 2 points.
they got the 2 points,
Adokar got back into the Origin team on the back of this performance.
which I liked.
Pangai got picked again. I mean, there's positives coming out of there.
Pangai had a window of about 15 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes of playing good hard rugby league. So that I liked, and I actually like Pangai when he's on. So that's the type of players I like in terms of aggression. But they're hard to watch sometimes, Nicola.
Yeah, due to some unforeseen technical difficulties, I've had to go to my phone for the next result because when I cropped out the results, I left out the last game. My bad. So closing out the round was the Sea Eagles in Canberra, 42 points to 14 over the Raiders, which actually broke their 6-game winning streak. The Raiders.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, what do you guys make of that? I mean, big response from Manly.
This continued the bad tipping of the week, because I think most people got three out of 8. It was
think
just
so,
terrible.
Nicola.
Yeah,
no
I
one
got
saw
4. I got 4 this week. Yeah.
No one saw it coming. Everyone thought Canberra should do this. In Canberra, Manly haven't been that.
Actually, I tipped
crash
Manly
rate.
in
You
this game.
tipped Manly.
Oh, good
Yeah,
work.
do you know
good
how I
man.
tipped Manly?
Yeah.
Forgot to put my tips in. I got the away team.
That was handy. But they just didn't turn up. I don't know. Canberra was just... it was just bizarre.
Maybe Canberra was starting to feel the pressure of a win streak. I don't know. I mean, look, they've had a great run.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing, but that reminds me, I haven't watched the Ricky Stewart press conference yet.
And
Might
both-
be interesting. Might be interesting.
And both teams completed at 84-85% completion.
quality.
So it was high quality, but the just defending was terrible.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, when you've won 6 in a row, I wouldn't take too much out of it. I think it's more about how did Canberra respond in the next game.
That's correct, yeah.
In
Absolutely.
terms of this game, Nicola, Canberra came out of the gate just charging, and they had in the first 15 minutes they had Manly on the rack for some unknown mystical Canberra reason. They decided that they've had enough. They didn't want to play anymore. And they started thinking about their barbecue, which Mr. Whitehead was going to put on for them at the night. And they were trying to choose what beer they were going to drink because they weren't there. So Manly doing what Manly done was more about what Canberra did.
Yeah, okay.
Manly were good. They did what they had to do. They looked better than
I didn't see this game either.
Manly,
so-
Manly looked. Canberra allowed them to look as good as they did, because if they played a committed Canberra team, I'm not going to say they would have won or lost, but the scores would have been closer.
Yeah.
I mean, Ginger Meggs was terrible.
That's Corey Horsburgh.
Fogarty wasn't seen. Jack was, I think, on his farm milking his cows.
Ginger
'cause he
Meggs.
wasn't there.
So Corey Horsburgh, he was on the verge of Origin selection.
Guess what?
Did the pressure get to him?
I don't know what got to him, but guess what? Because he played like he played, he missed out on the Origin selection, and that was the reason. What were you going to say about the Tarpon? Did he play
Justice
well?
Tarpany didn't play well. Yeah, he didn't have one.
No,
of
they're all
his better
terrible.
games, but he
Papa
he's
was
a
terrible.
fantastic
Look
player.
at the comparisons, right? And I'm just being at a high level here. You look at the Blues, and you've got players who haven't played well for 5-6 weeks, have one good game in the last round, get picked. Then on the flip side, in Queensland, you've got players who have played great for 5 or 6 weeks, have one shocker in the last round, they get picked.
Yeah,
Could be a coincidence. I don't know.
Who knows?
Cool. Yeah.
They made Schuster look good, because when you got a defense going backwards, not forwards. Well, I mean, I'm not a fan of Schuster, but
Are we taking anything away from Manly though? I mean,
they scored 42 points.
Obviously,
They scored
Canberra.
42
Yeah,
points. Yeah. All I'm trying to say is that the defense was non-existent.
turnstiles.
So yeah, so
Fair enough.
I read nothing in this game. I think for Canberra it's a hiccup, and for Manly I've got to see. Yeah, and actually played well. Carl Lawton, he's back. Manly I've got to see a little bit more to make my mind up. Strange team.
What's
team.
what would you guys say was your game of the round?
Mine was the first one, Broncos Penrith. High quality game by both teams. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
Best
Just
game.
fast and direct and everything.
George, you called that the game of the year,
Best
didn't
game
you?
of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. It was physical. It was skillful. How the Penrith forwards stopped Haas. I've never seen Haas being stopped before, and I mean, as much as you can stop Payne Haas. Don't get me wrong. Now they didn't stop Payne Haas, but I think it was great, and that's who Penrith is now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to confuse the shit out of everyone here because for the game of the round, they've actually got 3, and none of them were the game of the round. So I'm going to say the Dragons and the Roosters and the Bulldogs and the Titans, just because they were 2-point nail biters that were decided in the last minute.
Entertaining.
And then I'm going to be really biased and say the Eels beating Souths
It's a great game.
It was a good
in
game.
Indigenous
game.
round.
It
But
was a
none
good
of those games were close to being the game of the round. But I'm
But
just
not-
thinking more from a
Good tries though.
No. You're not wrong, especially with the Eels game, because they showed something that they haven't showed for years. So you're not wrong. You're not
I
wrong at
always
all.
tend to, not always, but I do enjoy the excitement over quality sometimes. Just some of the worst quality games can be the most exciting. But I mean, there's nothing like watching good quality, and I think that's what we're going to see next Wednesday night.
Oh, can't wait.
But I love the
wait.
excitement factor.
Can't wait.
What was the bludger of the round?
Sharks Newcastle.
I was going to say the same.
That was hard to
That
watch.
was bludger.
That was so hard to watch.
Maybe we should call it
But-
the Red Bull game of the round because you needed to stay awake.
No, you know, I want to change it, to be honest. I want to call it bludgers, all right? My bludgers of the round were the Cowboys. They were bludgers.
Yes,
Letting
definitely.
66 points.
Yeah.
Bludgeon.
See, for me, I wouldn't call that the bludger of the round because that would be unfair on the Tigers,
Yeah, true.
right? As a game, but for the Cowboys, absolutely. Yeah. What stood out for you guys this round?
Tigers scoring 66 points stood out a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know what? Every time I see this guy, I always smile. Seeing some of the Indigenous players, ex-players on the sidelines, and when I saw Preston Campbell, I love that guy.
Yeah,
When he
excitement
was
machine.
an
How good is
exciting
his son?
player, just
How
his
good is his son
character.
becoming?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
It looks like a really, really nice guy, and I was just
He
so
is.
happy to see him, just
He is.
smiling and watching his son play, and I don't know. That's good for me.
George,
The Tigers and the Dragons.
that's funny. That's what I was going to say. What stood out for me was
Relief.
2 fan bases: the Dragons and the Tigers.
Well, the 3 teams at the bottom won, so
Yeah.
all out, that's pretty good.
Who gets the John Kreese spray this week?
It's got to be the Cowboys.
All of them. Every
Can you
one of them.
imagine if that was if
Including
Melbourne
the
put in
coach.
66 points, what they would cop in the
Yeah,
dressing sheds?
100%.
It would be chaos. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
And who was Manoli's player of the round this week?
Go, Adi. I'm interested.
No,
This is a tough one.
No, I went Jareem Buller, the
Tigers
Tigers
fullback?
I thought he was fantastic. He's only a young kid, probably his 5th game in the NRL, and to put in a performance like that, this kid's going to be special. So I think Tigers fans will spew on they lost Teddy, but you know what? You're going to get Buller now. Hang on to this guy. Don't let the Roosters get Buller off you. Just keep this guy.
Has he
He's
ever
gonna
had
be
a
good.
Euro?
So he's going to go down there and he's going to try the Euro.
he
Hopefully,
ever had one?
Manoli doesn't. I don't think he's had one. Lucky they're not playing the Roosters because Manoli will probably poison the poor kid.
For sure.
But
for sure.
yeah, I'm giving it to him, mate.
Nicola, I'm going to pick someone who is much maligned and has had a hard time for maybe the last decade.
Brooks.
But all of a sudden,
He's had a hard time this season. He's had a tough couple of seasons. Luke Brooks has the record as being the longest running first grade player, NRL player, to not play a semi final.
and
Wow.
that's and
12
that's,
years?
Yes,
Is it?
No, 10.
Jeez.
But this is why he needs a bit of a pickup now. Make no mistake, he's gone with his one of his best mates, the halfback for Parramatta, Moses, but he's always taken him to kebab places.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's never had a Euro.
Mm.
Okay. So I've actually rang up Manoli so to make a special Euro for him, and another one who's lactose intolerant.
Oh,
Yeah. Can't have
No
the parmesan.
parmesan,
Can't
no.
have the parmesan. But chips he loves.
no, good.
But he's never had the fat wok chips. You know not those French fries, the fat ones. And
Yeah, they're the
and Dimitra cuts them
I
nice.
don't like those. I like the shoestring.
Do
fries,
you?
Yeah.
No.
Oh no!
I don't like the
Dimitra
thick
does
ones.
special. The Dimitra does nice and fat, and they put the really oily ones. Dimitra does them beautiful. Yeah, so
best.
he'll like them. So Brooksy.
Brooksy.
Good on him. For me, I actually didn't see the game, but based off what I read and everything, I'm going to run with Buller,
Yeah.
the young fullback, because I have seen him the past
good.
few weeks. He's been really good, and I think the Tigers might have something special there. Question is, can they hold on to him when the big dogs come knocking on the door?
And they'll
But-
be knocking.
They'll learn the lesson.
And they'll be
But
knocking.
let's move into Controversy Corner, where we break down the current issues, topics for the week.
Sure.
So we need to start with, recording this on a Monday night, as we did last Monday night, the very next day. Hook got the hook. Artie, you have to open this one.
Yeah, it was. We all suggested he was going. We all thought he was going to, not coach the Dragons in 2024, but we didn't expect it to happen within 24 hours, and it did. And well, unfortunately, it did for him. But it was a bit of a shock. I thought he would be there for at least a couple more weeks. Ryan Carr's there now as the assistant. He's doing a great job. The players, it's mixed. I couldn't read their body language. Hey, like when
Sean
they
Timmins was in the box with.
yeah,
with
Sean Timmins was
yeah.
there, but when they interviewed Jack DeBellin, the way it was handled was pretty poorly because they made a couple of guys from the
Yeah,
Dragons
at 8:30
front
in the-
up
yeah,
8:30 in
yeah.
the morning just before a training session when it just happened and they had no idea what was going on. But it was funny because on NRL 360 they're saying, as a Dragons fan you'd be disgusted with the way Hook was treated. I'm thinking, hang on a second, I've spoken to so many Dragons fans and we are not. Look, I know it's a guy's livelihood and that, but we were sort of so relieved that it finally happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least
and-
now we can move forward.
Yeah,
It
and
should
look,
have happened ages
I
ago.
just want to throw my 20 cents in as well. I just want to say one thing on that. So, especially Dragons fans, I mean, no one was happy with the job that he was doing, right?
No.
We all knew he was gone when the season started. But, on the flip side, the guy went there, he gave it a shot and it didn't work. He didn't go to the Dragons with a plan to destroy the club.
Yeah.
He went there with a plan to do the best he could, and his best wasn't good enough. Wasn't even close to being good enough.
Yeah.
I just hope he gets a bit of breathing space now,
Yeah, me too.
because he's been under a lot of pressure. He got what I think he deserved
Yeah.
in terms of his performance. It didn't work, but I just think a lot of people talk about it like he went there to, just bring the place down or something. I mean, that's obviously not
that's
what happened.
No, there's no way he did.
No one likes getting sacked. I don't like seeing people get sacked,
Yeah.
but he had to go.
Yeah.
We knew that at the start of the season. It
It's-
just wasn't working.
It's just his style, everything. It just didn't suit the club.
Yeah. He needs to adjust if he wants to continue coaching. He needs to make some changes about the way he does it.
Exactly. And what made me sick is as soon as that happened, the clubs are ringing up Ben Hunt and asking him these questions. It's disgusting, man. The guy already, his manager came out 2 weeks ago and said, Ben Hunt's never agitated for a release.
But again,
And he knew about this.
I blame the club for that because all the club needs to do is put a media ban on the players
They
to
do.
protect them,
Yeah.
right? It's because we've seen clubs do it in the past.
Yeah,
We're putting a 1 week media ban on our players. No one's talking to anyone
exactly.
to protect the players,
Exactly.
right? Not to shut them up, but to protect them from that kind of crap.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of Ben. I've heard Ben talk personally, say that my goal is to slowly transition to hooker and play Bud at halfback. So he's even admitted himself. But all the press are coming out. Oh, Hunt doesn't want to play.
I don't think
hooker. He wants to play at 7 the whole time.
The
and
Bulldogs are
he's
ringing him up. Phil Gould's ringing him up to try and get him over to the Bulldogs. You've heard that, right?
well,
I don't think Hunt's going to go anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think so because the whole reason why it took so long to sign that contract, the extension, was because he wanted a clause in there so if Hook leaves, he can leave.
Yeah.
But he ended up buckling and he said, "No, I'm not going to
Yeah.
put that clause in my contract." So he can't ask for a release because he already told the club that he's not going to leave if Hook goes.
But it's
So-
also a dumb situation because if a coach gets sacked, he usually doesn't get a job 2 weeks later,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Coaches that get sacked, they're out of the game for quite a while.
Yeah, exactly.
So why would a 33-year-old ask for that clause? Okay, well, I'm going to leave. I mean, you don't know. Were you going to follow him? He's not going to be coaching until you're retired
Exactly.
again.
Yeah.
You know?
Michael Cariana said he spoke to Ben and said that Ben, until he speaks to the new coach, he's going nowhere.
Yeah.
He wants to speak to the new coach. He wants to see who the new coach is,
Which is fair enough,
and
man.
he wants to see what the new coach has got in
I think
plans.
that's fair enough because, I mean, at the end of the day, if I was a player, I would not. This is the situation St George are in right now. I would not sign with a club where I don't know who the coach is going to be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
No.
I want to know who my coach is going to be.
Exactly. I just felt sorry for him because him and Hook are very close. He just saw Hook get sacked, so he feels sorry for the guy, and all of a sudden people are just hammering him, asking about his future. Let the guy get a bit of peace
That's the
and
media.
think about
When
it.
I-
It's just
that's the
terrible.
media-
When I saw
media
that, and again, we all knew it was coming, but when I saw that footage, and this goes for any time I see it, of Hook with 400 cameramen around him driving out of the car park at 9 o'clock in the morning. I feel terrible for the guy, man. He's just lost his job and he's going home. And again, we can criticise him, and we all have, right? But at the end of the day, he went there, tried to do his best, and it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just think this should have happened 3 months ago,
It should have. Yeah,
5 months ago.
Should have happened last year. At the end of last year, he should never had the opportunity of starting this season as a head coach. He should have been in Caloundra with the under 14s, which are screaming out for a coach at the moment.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. He's still a first grade coach.
Yeah,
maybe
but George-
maybe the under 20s.
I don't agree with that because they signed and he just signed an extension for another year, so he had this year under his belt, right? If just say he went through the first 10 rounds and he won 8 out of 10 games, they wouldn't have sacked him.
No.
So St George gave him the opportunity
Yeah.
to prove him right. Now you go out there, you win 8 games, you got a chance of staying on longer. So it wasn't that bad of a call. I don't think it's that bad.
But you could see the team's morale was down
Yeah, you can, and and when you look at the draw, they're winnable games. He could have won
at the start.
quite a few games.
Again, like a point that I raised a couple of weeks ago, some of that fault I think needs to sit with the playing group as well, because when they're under a coach who they know is on the chopping block,
Yeah,
they don't have to turn up and do their best. They've got that safety net of the coach will go. Now the coach is gone, they don't have that safety net anymore.
yeah.
So and now they have to start turning up and doing their best because they can't blame the coach. Like I said last week or the week before, when you have these player revolts against the coach and the coach ends up getting sacked, well, you can only play that card once.
Yeah.
Now he's gone. Next week you can't use the same excuse. Now you've really got to lift. So they did lift, and it'd be interesting to see if they can keep doing it.
Can I ask you guys a question though? Like you mentioned that it's bad form how they gave Hook 6 weeks or whatever. What do you think is worse, right? What do you think is worse treatment for a coach? Now, remember John Morris at the Sharks? They were in the top 8.
Yeah.
He rocks up to work one day and they say, you're no longer a coach. Don't you think that's worse than giving the guy 10 weeks to prove himself and getting him in the 8?
Yeah, so the short answer is yes, and the same as Hook was sitting 4th at Penrith when he got sacked.
And that's another one.
Right,
So they're making out St George to be the big villains that they handled
No,
really poorly.
all I'm
But I thought the other two teams, yeah,
my
he did a lot
my
worse.
take on that, it's not so much against Hook himself or anything like that. My take on that was if I'm at the executive level of a club,
Yeah.
and we sit down and we say, right, we got Hook next year, we're going to give him 6 games or 10 games or whatever it is. As an executive, I would be looking further ahead.
Yeah.
I would be saying, I don't want him to prove himself for next year. Is he our man for the next 3 years?
Yeah, yeah,
If we all know the answer is no, then we need to move now
yeah.
and not prolong it by another 12 months. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
If we think, yes, he can be our man for the next 3 years, but we need to see something, then I'd run with what happened,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But as a coach, what would hurt you more? If you were coming 8th and the club told you out of nowhere you're going to get shafted?
That would
Or
hurt
you're
more.
coming last and they say, listen, mate, you're gone.
I'll tell you what would hurt me more than both of
What would
those
hurt me-
if I get told I have to reapply for my job, because that means I'm out. Oh, 100%. No coach who's ever been retained, to my knowledge, was ever told they had to reapply for their job. That's a way of telling you, hey, we're looking elsewhere and you need to prove that you're the man to be here. Well, if I haven't proven it, maybe I should go now.
But even if you're performing well and you're hitting your KPIs, you've got the teams in the top 8, top 4, and you get shafted. Don't you think that's worse than saying you've got to reapply? You're doing a really shit job, man. You've got to reapply.
No, it probably is. But I just think I can't see any situation where someone who's
Feels
told
in the
they have to
back foot.
reapply for their
Yeah.
job is going to end up with them keeping it. I've just never
true.
seen that.
You're right.
The only time I've ever seen that happen in my industry is when a company acquires another company and it's a formality. Everyone has to sign new contracts because technically we're reapplying for our jobs. But it's different. It's a different situation, different scenario.
You know what? Let's get real. He's got sacked from the last 3 jobs he's had.
Yeah.
Okay, where there's smoke, there's fire. Okay, they were performing like bastards.
No, I disagree with that.
No,
Because he
Penrith
got
won.
sacked when his team was running 4th.
Yeah, Penrith.
You can't tell me in any
no,
way.
I'm talking about St George, who was running like bastards.
Yeah, fair enough,
yeah,
fair
yeah,
enough.
sure.
But
George ran
not
the
at
buses.
Penrith, he wasn't.
All I know is he got sacked from the last 3 jobs. That's all I know. Okay.
Yeah, but add some context to it,
well, he
though.
got sacked from the last 3 jobs.
Yeah, running 4th.
It doesn't matter. He's
It
running
does
first.
matter.
There's something there then. There is something there. There's
Maybe.
something that you don't get sacked if everything's going fine.
He wasn't going that
Okay.
bad at Brisbane, was he?
I can't remember Brisbane, and I agree about the Penrith job, but there might be a little bit of Gould there. But still, again, okay, where there's smoke, there's fire. But there's no doubt that St George, okay, the team was running busted.
No,
Not
absolutely.
this year, last year as well.
No,
Make no mistake.
his whole tenure at St George was a failure.
And it's a shame because I actually, as a person, as a human being, I think he's actually a good bloke.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's like I said, you know, he didn't go there with a plan to
Of course
sabotage
not.
the club.
No.
You know, he had a tactic which I thought was a good tactic in the beginning. He decided to identify players who were once rep players or whatever, who were a bit past their prime, got them on cheap deals, and if he could get the best out of them, it would have been a coup. But it didn't happen. It backfired.
Yeah.
And he's got to live with that because that was the call he made,
Yeah.
right? The Aaron Woodses and all those guys, it just didn't work.
Do you think that's the reason why now St George are not going to go for Flanagan or Hasler because Hasler's been sacked at 3
Well,
clubs?
let's
so,
Yeah.
so they're going, we're going to make the same
True.
mistake. We're going to go for a
Okay,
coach who's been
true.
sacked.
Can I just finish on this one? I see now, with Hook gone, I see relief and hope. Not only with the fans, I see it with the actual team. They showed us. All the players can do is show us on the field, and
Yeah.
we saw the response
Is-
of Hook leaving.
Is it going to be Jason Rolls?
Now, this is the question: is it going to, or is Jason Rolls the right coach for St George? Now, I say no. Okay, because I don't know who Jason Rolls is.
Who's
Jason Rolls?
My opinion on that, which I've said before, whenever a club is in a position where the Dragons are, for me, that's never a time for a debut coach. I
agree.
We've seen it happen with Trent Barrett
Yep.
at 2 clubs. I think a debut coach needs to go into a more stable organisation.
Well, when you look at
it's the
Parramatta-
hardest job. It's one of the hardest jobs on
Yeah.
the market at the moment.
When you look at Parramatta, wasn't Brad Arthur his first head coaching job? And you guys were last. You guys were
Yeah,
a
it's taken
dog's
10 years,
breakfast.
Arthur.
Yeah, I know. But
10 years
he
to
went-
get
he
to
went
get
into a
past
club.
week 2 of the semis.
Yeah, but
10 years.
Yeah, but you've made finals. You were coming wooden spoons
Week
before
one.
Brad Arthur.
We won 1 spoon, right? Now, to get to week 2 of the semi-finals, it took 9
But
years.
still use the top 8 side. Use a
How
Are
long
you
did
willing to
You're
wait
always in
10
the- in the
years?
finals.
Are you willing, as a Dragons
It's
fan,
been 10 years
are
now,
you
though.
willing to wait another 10 years? Because I've been waiting 35 years. Are
Nick-
you willing to wait another 10?
Nick, when Brad took them, where were they on the table?
They won the wooden spoon when Ricky Stewart left.
That's right. So
Yeah.
Brad took over.
Yeah.
And how long did it take him to fix the roster? And St George has got a better roster than
Well, let's not
the
forget, Brad Arthur
Penrith,
won
I
a
think.
spoon as well,
Brad Arthur won
in
a spoon next
2017.
year. Okay.
2018.
Okay. And how many years did he take him to make for him to make the 8?
They made the 8, I think 20. They were going to make the 8 in 2016, but then they got docked 20 points
That's right.
for the salary
But
cap
the year
thing.
before, did they have weren't they in the 8 the year before?
Not 2015, no.
Okay. So it took what 3-4 years to make the 8
Well, no, he took over in 2014,
and 20 what they made the 8 20
2017.
So
So
3
3
years.
years,
Yeah.
3 years.
3
Okay,
years.
3 years.
followed by a wooden spoon.
Yeah, because that was a salary cap thing.
No, that wasn't the same year.
Oh, okay.
That was that wasn't the same year. 2016 they would have made the 8, but they got docked to 20 points.
Oh, okay.
2017 they made the 8. 2018 they won the wooden spoon,
Wow.
Oh, okay.
right? And he got past week 2 of the semis last year.
Yeah.
9 years.
Well, if you look at
And
Webster,
if you
who,
consider that successful,
if you look at Webster, who he's done a great job.
Webster, who's been around the traps?
Yeah, but he hasn't been
he's
a head coach.
Yes, he has.
An
In
assistant.
England.
Rolls. Oh, he hasn't been a head coach. I
No, he
suppose.
hasn't been. You know what? St George is a massive club. The only good thing with St George is the cattle's there, okay? But why wouldn't you go to a proven guy? Now I get.
I would
the
for
stink.
I would for 2 years, and I'd bring Riles in as his assistant to
Hey,
get
hey,
him ready to take over.
make that plan, okay?
Yeah.
If Hasler's got some stink to him,
Even 1 year.
if Hasler's got some sort of stink to him, if Flanagan's got some stink to him, what's wrong with Potsy?
Nothing.
Why won't you pick up the phone?
You know
ring-
what? What
ring
about
Potsy?
Maguire? I know he had a bad run at the Tigers, but that doesn't make him a bad coach.
He's not a bad coach.
No.
It's just a bad situation.
He's out there
okay?
as well.
Okay, so you're asking an untried coach who's always been in good systems, Roosters, Melbourne, everything going fine around him. Okay,
Yeah.
to go to I'm not going to say a basket case because I don't think the team is a basket case, but definitely upstairs. is a basket case. Okay, now. We've heard nothing about it because it's all Origin talk, and I haven't heard
Yeah.
him sign. So he's waiting for that buffer between him and the board. Okay, but he will sign. He's going to be the coach. But I suggest, and you know what?
He might not
They
have a
wanted-
choice now,
they
or he'll be
want-
unemployed next year.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
he's going to be unemployed
This is the
in a couple
issue.
of weeks.
This is the issue that I wanted to bring up.
He's going to be unemployed in a couple
This
of
is
weeks.
the issue that I wanted to bring up, and I only know what I've read, so I don't know how much of it is true or not. You guys might know more than I do. But if I was Jason Riles, I'd be filing a lawsuit against the Roosters right now.
Really?
Yep, because he's contracted for next season. He's done nothing wrong. He hasn't signed anything with the Dragons.
Exactly.
He's done nothing wrong, and the Roosters have come to him and said, "You know what? You're gone at the end of this year."
Well,
Based on what?
it's getting worse now because,
Based on what?
well,
Because you had a phone call with someone.
yeah, he's going to sign, but
Well, and further to that,
he's going to
if this
sign.
is true, it's pathetic. The Roosters are demanding compensation.
Yeah.
Not sure
Now-
about the compensation.
Now, that's what I read,
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Now, on what grounds can they demand compensation when they've terminated him early?
Exactly.
He hasn't left,
Yeah.
right? You've terminated him and you want compensation?
Yeah.
Stick it up your ass. I'll be filing a lawsuit against Politis because that guy's losing his marbles. He thinks he's all that. And you know what?
Politis is
He's
losing
been
it.
getting smashed lately
Yeah.
with his ego,
And-
trying
and-
to stick his chest out.
And that's, I think, the Roosters thing, that's we'll talk about it later, but that's half the problem there
I'd
as well.
file a lawsuit
But-
for wrongful termination, right? And you know what? Throw in defamation as well, because they're
well-
rubbing his name in the mud when the guy has not come out and said a word publicly to anyone about anything. If he has had phone calls, every one of us is entitled to explore our options when it comes to employment,
Okay.
right?
Let me tell you what Cariana said. Politis and the coach of
Robbo?
is it Robbo arguing like cats and dogs because Politis wants him gone now. Okay, and I think Politis will get his wish. Okay, so it's an unhappy upstairs.
No, and that's fine
Okay.
because at the end of the day, he owns the club. He can make that call, but you can't demand compensation
Well, I don't know about
when you're the one
conversation.
initiating the action
Don't know about the don't know
and
about
you're
the
terminating
conversation.
someone who's under contract for next season.
Well, yeah, but he's going to have to. They don't have to let him leave to get the St. George
But he hasn't
job.
asked to leave yet.
Well, he's going to sign. It's a matter
Well,
of time.
wait a second. Let's look at the facts.
Okay.
He has not asked to leave yet, but he's been told he's going.
Exactly.
Right?
What happens when he turns around?
Doesn't matter.
Next week.
We're past that point.
Yeah.
We're
Next
past
week he
that
says, I want
point.
to leave next year.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because they terminated him
not
before
yet.
he asked to leave.
Exactly.
Well, not yet.
No, they have. They've told him the end of this season you're finished.
You're gone.
He's got a year to go.
Okay. Well, we all know what was going to happen. He's going to go to St. George.
Yeah,
Or
but by the
Melbourne.
letter of
Or
the law,
Melbourne.
he's done nothing wrong, and the Roosters have acted inappropriately in this scenario.
Okay. Well, let's forget about the Roosters because they seem to be losing assistant coaches all the time.
Maybe
They're
Politis-
angry because they had the Newcastle coach there, Adam O'Brien.
Yeah.
He left early,
Yes.
right? When Jason Riles joined the Roosters from Melbourne,
He promised
they
3
asked him
years.
for a handshake promise for 3 years and he gave it to them, right? But what kind of a piece of shit organisation do you have to be to hold people down? No one wants to be an assistant coach, right? Especially when these are youngsters who are aiming for their first crack at a head coaching role. Now, if you look at Ricky Stewart, who I've been heavily critical of in the past, he came out publicly earlier in the year and he said, Michael Maguire is a first-grade coach.
Yeah.
And if he gets an opportunity, I'll fully support him. Now, the Roosters as a club should be doing the same thing. But what's happening is
Robbo's come out and said that about Riles.
now that why are they doing all this then? Right? Now,
Exactly.
It's not driven by Robbo.
now that
Politis.
now that the
Politis.
Roosters are hitting, they're stuck in the mud. All of a sudden, their true colours are coming out, and the desperation's coming out. And you should be supporting this young man for his first crack at a head coaching role. You've got Trent Robinson. He's not going to replace him, is he? In the next 2 years,
No.
right? So, what the hell have you got? Like, why would you not support the guy and help him? And you know what?
And-
he might replace Robbo in 5 years' time if you play it right.
Interesting. You know what?
But they've just burnt that bridge.
And now we're starting to talk about what's wrong with the Roosters, and I think what we're talking about now
Yep.
is wrong with the Roosters. We always say the strength comes from the top, and I think Robbo's the managers have made some poor decisions, like letting Suali call his own shots, and we know how that backfired.
And they walked
against.
into that bub.
Yep.
That's the reason South let him go because they refused to meet that demand.
It all started with Cordner's unfortunate departure.
Yeah.
And since that day, things have just gone downhill. They've made some poor choices in human beings, be it Robbo, be it Politis, don't know who it is. The first time for 10 years they've been under pressure.
Are they in
And
crisis,
we can
George?
see, I don't know about crisis, but we can see cracks. Obviously,
Yeah.
we can see cracks. And the minute we hear about Nick Politis' name, because we don't, you know any CEO of
He
any
shouldn't
club?
be getting involved.
Phil
Phil Gould's the only other one.
Well, he's a different scenario. He's a
Every
different
photo
scenario.
I see of Cameron Serraldo training his team, Phil Gould standing next to him in
he's the
shorts.
coach. He's the coach. no, he's the coach.
But if I was Serraldo, I'd actually be trying to soak up as much as I can from someone like us.
So, I mean, I don't know if they can get their season together, but that's the issue. They're cracking under the pressure. Politis not happy. He demands trophies. He wants trophies.
Yeah.
He's not happy with Robbo came out in the press conference and said, "Yeah, we're doing fine. We're okay. We're sitting pretty." No. He expects trophies. It's been a few years since they got trophies now. and
Well, I mean, he's
Nick
won,
doesn't. Nick doesn't accept that.
put it into context. Robbo's won 3 premierships in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I was Robbo, I'd be turning around to Politis and saying, if you're not happy, See you later.
Robert
Yeah.
can come to St George.
Because
anyway.
every club would line up to sign that guy.
Of course.
I'm with you, but it looks like Robbo is having internal pressures. He just looks at he's not the normal, and his wording is not the normal like it is usually. I don't know. I see cracks, and you can see it in the team. You know what? They're all champion players, but they're just not a champion team. Yeah.
Not at the moment, no.
Yeah, there's something wrong. I honestly think they'll get it together, but they've got to be a little bit more humbled.
There are some players there like Brandon Smith who need to pull their heads in.
Yeah, the Chee's got to change his attitude and think Roosters or you know what, think Storm, because I'm sure the Storm and the Roosters got similar cultures. You know what I mean? And he's not a hooker, and I'll tell you why he's not a hooker, because one of the best coaches in the world put him in lock. Not as a hooker.
Yeah.
And he had it for how many years? 6 years.
I thought he was playing both. I thought he was playing.
He was, but
for many
Yeah,
years.
but
And then
Bellamy always preferred him at lock.
Yeah, but he played him in hooker a lot.
He did, a lot.
because he wins like a little girl. That's why he wants to play. I want to play hooker. I want to play hooker. I want to play hooker. I want to play hooker.
Wow. I can't see Bellamy giving in to a kid. Though.
Yeah, nor can I. Actually. Nor can I.
And that ended with him leaving, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think Bellamy missed him too much either.
But on that, I just want to say that in terms of the coaching situation, St George, Nicola, mate, I think we're gonna have a new contender. I want to throw my hat in. Can
I be your assistant?
Well, you know what? You can be in the party, because we've got Adi, assistant coach, and
Can't argue with that.
And for the offence, we got Sashin. We got Sashin for pathways.
Can I be the technical director?
You can be.
I don't even know what that means.
No,
I don't know.
You can be the guy in the box.
you can-
with the laptop. That looks like he's doing some stats. Or
And
something.
we've got Manoli for the Uncle Nick sort of job. You know what I mean? The big money man.
You know,
I want to
who
be in
you're
charge of
missing?
retention.
You want me to player retention?
We're all
Head of
missing.
retention.
There's only one club doing it right at the moment. That's the West Tigers.
Actually, you
They've
know
got
what?
a good sort in the box every week. I don't know who she is or what she does. If someone knows, please write in and tell us, because that's what we all want.
Yeah. You know what? In what 11 rounds, 12 rounds we're in, how things are looking, they've probably got the best long-term view from everybody.
Yeah, I think it'll be Rolls. I think Rolls will be St George.
Rolls
coach
will be
next
the
year,
coach,
yeah.
and good luck to him.
And he'll have a good support team. around him.
Brownie's going to hopefully get the job there, and he'll sort him out because he's
Brownie-
built teams. He's done the Warriors. He's done Newcastle. He's done.
Is he
fantastic.
still at Parramatta?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I saw a photo of him. I thought he had left.
Yeah. Your pathways or something. He's
Yeah.
just got some pathways
Yeah,
job.
yeah. No. Cariana said that there's no doubt Brownie's coming for pathways.
Oh, I thought it was retention.
Or
Head of retention,
whatever it
yeah.
is, pathways retention. The South Sydney, what's his name? The South Sydney assistant coach,
Hornby.
He wanted Hornby.
Yeah, he's
Ross,
Dragons DNA.
but it's not going to happen.
South want to re-sign him.
It's not going to happen, and that's why Rolls got pissed, because they got promised a lot, and what the board told him and what actually happened.
yeah, so Souths are making the right decisions where the Roosters are really dropping the ball in all these little.
Isn't it funny?
When you look at Suwali, when you look at the coaching, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
They're making the sensible decisions, and the Roosters just aren't.
Well, yeah.
They're just
Well,
not.
they got the trophy.
Like I said, Rolls, if he does
I'll
what
never let it go.
if he does what they wanted him to do and there was no issues, he would be an assistant for one more year, and then he's gone anyway.
Yeah.
And now they've burnt that bridge with him because they've treated him like shit. Imagine Rolls turns out to be the next Trent Robinson,
Wow.
and he tells the Roosters to stick it in 5 years when he could have been replacing Trent Robinson had they played their cards right.
He'll be forever in St George, because
Hopefully.
St George isn't.
If he's...
Yeah, well, St George, if that's true, but St George for me is like I said, Real Madrid. With 12 premierships, they should always be in and around the 8.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Now let's talk about there's a big problem at Parramatta, and today they've solved half of it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
actually, you know what? Last week, Rothfield and Carianis on the Telegraph website spoke about that, and they said they alluded to that, but I didn't say nothing last week. They alluded that Manly was interested in
Jacob Arthur.
Jacob Arthur, but Cariana said that. So I didn't think it will go anywhere because Brad wasn't interested.
See, I've been saying
Brad
this,
did not want to do it.
I've been saying this for 2 years. If Brad Arthur played it the right way, he should be the one to tell his son, "You need to go to another club. You need to go. You need to go into an environment where your dad's not the coach, and make it on your own merit."
Yeah.
Because that's half the problem.
It's going to happen now.
Yeah.
What happened? The retention committee. I'll tell you, and you can listen to the pod.
By the way,
podcast.
Jacob Arthur signed with Manly. That's what we're talking about. Effective immediately.
How it actually happened because Manly came knock-in, okay, and Brad was completely against it. I'm not sure about what the youngster thought. Didn't know what the youngster thought. The retention committee. So at the end of the day, okay, we thought that Brad Arthur hasn't got the final say. Carianis disputed that fact and said that at the end of the day, it's Brad's team and he has the final say on everything.
Well, he's doing a great fucking job when you look at the players who left at the end of last year.
Let me tell you. Can I tell you one thing?
And he signed Hodgson.
Can I tell you one thing
and
about
Davey?
Can I tell you one thing about
Wonderful. Yeah.
one thing about that? And you're going to ask me where I got where my source is, and I can flick you the pod. Okay, Cariana said this. He said that Marnie. Okay, it was Brad's call for him to leave because he was a sympathiser with the lock that didn't like what was that lock's name? The one who plays for the Roosters now.
Nathan Brown.
Yeah, he was a sympathiser. He didn't verbalise it, but he was a sympathiser with Brown for Jacob. You know what I mean? Not up to playing...
yeah, well, that proves he's an unprofessional idiot.
So that's what Cariana said. He goes,
that's true.
So he went to the board and said, we can clear 600,000 getting thing now. Now, I didn't say anything last week to anyone here because I got a bit, I don't know, I didn't know what to do with it, and I know how you would react to it. But when Jacob went now, okay, well, it sort of married up to what Carianis was saying.
That doesn't surprise me. For anyone who doesn't know, the whole story behind the whole Nathan Brown fiasco, which proves how incompetent Brad Arthur is, right? And I'll tell you why. Because Jacob Arthur was getting picked in a team. There was a group of players who didn't feel that he was ready to be there, right? Yeah. Arthur was getting picked on the bench, if you remember.
Yes.
He's a halfback.
Yes.
Right? He was coming on as hooker week after week after week, and there were some players who were unhappy with it.
Yeah.
But
well,
because
one in
he was
particular.
there was several.
Yeah.
One spoke up.
One spoke
right?
up, yeah.
Because the player is the coach's son, everyone was afraid to say something. Yeah. So Nathan Brown, being one of the senior players, approached Brad Arthur.
That's right. Yeah.
Away from everyone else, and Arthur cracked the shit.
Yeah.
And he sent Brown back to the New South Wales Cup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this proves his incompetence. He recalled him for one game, the grand final. Bit late, right? That's desperation.
That's desperation.
Now, if he's cut Nathan Brown and Reid Marnie because of that, that proves his incompetence. And if you want to save 800 grand, then he should fucking resign. That's what should happen. Because I'm sick of this unprofessional bullshit.
Yeah.
Right? How many players did we lose last year? Six grand finalists.
The whole pack.
Right? Great coaching.
Yeah.
If he's responsible for it.
Again, that's not coming from me. It's coming from Carianis and Rothfield. But anyway, he's going to come back next year. He's not going for forever.
Who? Jacob Arthur?
Yeah, he's only going to fill in for...
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's only coming... It's a loan. It's a loan deal.
Oh, God.
It's a loan deal. It's not a forever deal. At least you haven't got him this year.
I'm looking at the camera because I'm speechless. I've got nothing.
Be good for the kid. He'll come back a different player.
I've got no issues with the kid.
Yeah, the kid's a
right,
kid's
and he's unfairly treated. Now, I personally don't want him in my team, but he might be good, and he just doesn't suit that setup. But he might be good in another team. But he's also, in a situation where his dad's the coach, and in some cases that works, but in some cases it doesn't. He's come into grade in that situation, and it's clearly affecting his confidence.
I think so. Well, what you told me before, if that's the case, it hurt me. It like my heart dropped to the floor when what you said.
It is, and everything I just told you about the whole Nathan Brown thing, I know that from inside sources that I can't say on air, but players, that's what happened.
Yeah, gee.
That's what happened.
Well, Carianis on the Marnie thing, absolutely swears blind that that's what actually happened. So because Buzz was saying that he hasn't got a say, and he goes, "Are you kidding?" He goes, "Buzz,
You can't be a 10-year coach and not have a say.
say, of course not. At the end of the day, it's your team. It's your team."
But letting go of Reid Marnie and signing Josh Hodgson, letting go of Papali and signing Andrew Davey. I mean, now they're trying to get Offa Hengawi. This all. Don't get me wrong. I want Offa Hengawi, but this all reeks of desperation.
Connor Tracy too.
Connor Tracy is good.
This all reeks of desperation. Get your attention right. See, everybody says, and it's just the way it's worded, but every time I hear it, people say recruitment and retention.
Yeah.
No, it's retention and recruitment.
Yeah, retention. And recruitment.
Look after your backyard first and then decide who you need to bring in, not the other way around.
Yeah.
That's how I operate anyway.
And then look at your pathways, yeah.
But anyway, enough on the Arthurs. Obviously, the disease is still going to be at the club for a long time to come. And by the way, Parramatta beat South on Friday night, so Arthur's probably looking at a 2-year extension. Yeah. What's happening in Vegas, George?
Oh, Vegas. The man of feathers went.
Sorry, just people. That's Peter Volandis, right?
The man of feathers went to Vegas to make the deal, and the deal he made, and for Volandis, all he cares is the betting. So he wants to show America Rugby League, and you can bet on Rugby League. It's going to be a showcase, not only of the game, but there's going to be a lot more planned in and around Australian sports on that weekend, apparently. Now, that's good and fine. And Nick said to me off air that why should he care about anything else but right here and now? Because in 5 years, in 2 years, he might not be in the job. My view is this: you keep on talking about the US and how you want to penetrate the market, and you talk about a team in Hawaii, Honolulu, the Pacifica, but you go to America and put a game on in Vegas, fantastic, but you don't address, or you don't just start addressing the real issue, the grassroots. Go and have meetings at least and see how America, because there is rugby league in America, make no mistake. There's a rugby league played in America at a very low level, but it doesn't matter. There's some interest. Okay.
And it's funny, in Italy they actually have a Serie A cricket.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Believe it or not,
do.
I've never seen it.
And rugby league.
But apparently all the players have got long hair. But I agree with what you're saying. What irritates me about this, and we've gone to the US before. Let's not forget the fourth state of origin.
Yes.
It's only ever happened once in '87. Which got a huge reaction, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like pissing in the wind. If we're going to go to a market where we don't exist, there needs to be a long-term roadmap, a strategy, a plan over 10, 12 years or whatever. Not just go there, take a swing, and then not go back for another 10 years or 30 years in this case. You know
what? It would be a wasted opportunity. I really believe that. And the game in America... And there is a game in America. I'll say it again because people think that rugby league isn't played in Europe or in America, but it is, and at a low level. But it's a start. There's a little heartbeat flicker there. It's in a shambles at the moment because there's two rivaling factions in America. So nothing better than NRL going and at least talking to the main players there.
Why don't we go in with a bang, right? So you want to generate interest, right? From in the US, 300 million people, whatever it is, right?
1%.
Why not go? why not do something similar to what we did a long, long time ago? Go in there with a bang, right? Pick an event, whatever it is. Maybe it's the 4th of July. Pick some long weekend or something. The 4th of July will be perfect because you're sending the 2 Origin teams over,
Oh yeah.
right? And make sure it gets a bit of a bang. Make sure, make it so that it's on a, long weekend or whatever. And tell the Origin players, go out there like it's 1988, right? And because the ref's gonna rule, because this is a spectacle we're going for, right? When I don't know if you guys remember it, but when they played that 4th Origin game in '87, at half time they went around interviewing people in the crowd, and they were freaking out. They couldn't believe how tough these guys were. They couldn't believe how they were tackling each other, and they really freaked out because they watched gridiron, they watched the NFL, but they're padded up to the hilt and they're wearing helmets.
Yeah.
So, pick some sort of event, maybe a weekend where there's nothing on, or maybe do it as a curtain raiser to something, right? Where it's going to get eyes on it, because all they need to do is see it. If they see our game at the highest level, they'll want to see it again.
Yeah.
I think so, and you know what? I think it's the RLPA. I can't remember
the Rugby League
the
Players
American?
Association.
No, the American Association. I can't
Okay.
remember what it's called, but anyway, the guy who runs that I think his job's in marketing. I think that's what's needed, them to engage a marketing company and just start advertising the game. I don't know if you're serious about, don't do it like you say. Let's have a domestic competition and everything will be fine. Australia and the Pacific Islands and good, but they're the ones who talk about America, not me, not you. They've opened up the doors
I
for.
personally don't ever think we would succeed with the American market.
Why have they even mentioned it? They've done it. They must have done their research. The man
I
of Fevers
know.
must have done his research.
Americans are just renowned for in-house sports. Most of their biggest sports are sports that only they play, like the baseball and the NFL and like I said to you before, the NBA. They call themselves world champions. You've only played other American teams. How can you be a world champion?
That's Americans for you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Their national basketball team is really good, but
they're the best.
you don't become world champions from winning the World Series.
Yeah, the domestic competition basically.
Is that baseball, the World Series? No, I'm thinking of cricket. What's the baseball called?
No, the World Series. Yeah,
Yeah,
World Series.
they're the only ones who play it.
They're the only ones who play it. Yeah.
World what?
Oh,
To
yeah.
them, that is the world. America,
Absolutely.
right? US. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
while we're speaking about foreign countries, talk to me a little bit about France, who was supposed to be hosting the next Rugby League World Cup, but apparently they crunched the numbers and they pulled the plug. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Extremely disappointing for someone like me and Nicola who wants to take the game offshore, who wants to showcase the game in Europe especially. What happens, Nicola, is they put the event on, and whatever shortfall there is, usually the government picks the shortfall up. They went to the French government with the English model. What happened in the last World Cup, and the numbers were so large. The French government said, "Yeah, no thanks."
It's a red flag in itself because you shouldn't be preparing for a tournament knowing there's going to be a shortfall.
Yeah. Well, apparently
By shortfall, we're talking about a revenue loss,
yeah.
right?
Only once it made money, it was in Australia. All the other times, it's lost big money. But it's disappointing. Look, the competition's too long. I mean, I don't want to see Australia beat Jamaica 100-0. You know what I mean?
That's always been my criticism. of
Yeah.
it.
Look,
Yeah.
I've changed my mind. I think there should be some sort of qualifying competition for the minnow teams.
Yeah.
And Artie and myself have spoken about it last
that'd be
Friday
good.
night. Should be a qualification. I think there should be 5 teams lock, and we all know those 5 teams: Fiji, Tonga, Samoa, Australia, New Zealand, and the rest can fight out for one spot.
It's similar if you look at, for example, World Cup soccer, European Cup soccer. Teams are seeded.
Yeah.
The big countries are seeded, and the other ones have to fight their way in.
Yeah, and that's exactly what should happen
Yeah.
here. I know what they're trying to do, but it's not going to work. It's not working, and I suggest to you they'll probably bring the game or the World Cup to New Zealand and the Pacific Islands or something along those lines. I don't think they'll do it in Australia. I think New Zealand's screaming out for some sort of rugby league, but if they're going to do what they did last time and have a month of rugby league, and there's only 1 week of half decent rugby league,
Yeah.
I think it's going to lose its credibility.
I think it affects the product. It takes away.
Absolutely
No one
does.
wants to see 68-0.
You know what? I love seeing Greece in the finals or in the World Cup, but when you come to think of it, losing. How much did England put on us? 90?
Something like that.
Yeah, I
it's
mean, it
ridiculous,
wasn't
yeah.
But
pretty.
it's also the integrity of the teams. When Nathan Brown is playing for Italy,
Yeah, well,
I don't care how you sell it to me.
I don't know how
Nathan
that
Brown.
happened. I don't know how that happened.
That
but
name just doesn't fit.
Yeah. Again, that's a separate conversation. But look, they haven't made their decision. Mind you, I found out more. I dig in the international board. Just a toothless tiger. If the NRL is serious about the world game or expansion or whatever, if they don't go in and not only chip in by their pockets, but management, because no one can manage things like the NRL. It's just going to flounder and become what it is now.
Do you think they might tread water until the 18th team is announced, which is probably a couple of years away? But once the 18th team is announced, they'll revise the broadcast deal with an extra game a week. It'll be huge. And maybe some of that revenue can be put towards the international game.
I hope so, Nicola. I hope so. I know that the man of feathers is not very happy about the broadcast deal, and they're arguing again. I don't know if you've seen it on.
Can you do us a favour?
news.
Can you tell our listeners and viewers why you refer to Peter Vlanders as the man of
he's-
feathers?
He's all talk and he's all bravado and he talks a big game. It's like those birds who puff their puff their chest out and they put their back feathers up and they look great, but there's no substance inside. You know what I mean? There's no substance.
I've said many times. I think it's in many ways he saved the game.
He
when
did.
He came
Oh,
in.
COVID, yeah, absolutely.
Him and Abdo did a tremendous job.
And let me make it very clear: when it comes to dollars and cents, there's no one better.
Yeah.
Abdo and Volandis. When it comes to money, no doubt about it. But what they say and what they do is two different things.
I think he started enjoying his own headlines a bit,
Yeah,
and
recently.
but I've got to say, like I've seen him in the city one time
Yeah.
here in Sydney. It just he just looks like he's just a slob.
Yeah,
He's wearing a suit. He's wearing a suit. His guts hanging out over his belt.
Really?
One half of his shirt is out. It's not tucked in. He just looks like such a slob,
Wow.
you know.
Wow.
But hey,
Look,
we'll see what happens.
Watch this space. Things will get announced in the next months, and we'll see whether. And look, I welcome the World Cup to come to New Zealand and the Pacific Islands, but it's got to be revised. It's got the competition's got to be revised for the game. For the game.
Yep, definitely. Ask Artie. Have you got something for us, Artie?
Yeah, I was going to go into something, but I think we're sort of going.
Running out of time.
Yeah,
Want to do it
a
next
bit
week?
running- Well, I might do it next week.
Okay.
But I just saw some news. Chanel Harris-Tavita, the young lad, apparently he signed for the Warriors for 2 years, starting next year.
Okay.
So they're bringing back
is that the poet?
Sheck, and they're bringing back the poet. Yeah,
No way!
So, yeah, so
Didn't
another-
we say? Didn't we say the poll's going to come back?
yeah.
The poll's going
There you
to.
go.
How good is
So
that?
that's a couple of good signings for the
And
Warriors.
who else? Oh yeah,
It's Sebastian Sheck.
yeah, Sheck's coming back too.
Yeah. And if hopefully they can keep Sean Johnson longer, because
Yeah, yeah.
they're
Well, the
Sean's not going
Tigers have
nowhere.
tabled a
Sean's
2-year
going
deal.
nowhere.
Have you seen that?
2 years.
Tigers have tabled a 2-year deal worth $1.5 million to Sean Johnson.
Sean's not going anywhere. Yeah, Sean's not going.
I hope he stays. He looks happy. In
Sean's
New
going
Zealand, so
nowhere,
just stay there.
Nicola.
But he'll have his partner in crime there, Chanel Harris-Tavita.
He is very good.
They're
I'm
building.
so happy.
They're building a good squad. The Warriors.
They
Webster,
are.
who?
They are. Webster's doing a great
And
job.
let me tell you, I'm going to say it again. Okay, Webster who? Okay, did the Bulldogs get the wrong thing, coach? I say yes. Just look.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't have to convince anyone. Just look at, and you're going to tell me that Warriors have got a more better cattle than Bulldogs. Well, I'm going to say, well, yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. He's a great coach. He's a great coach. What do you got there, Artie?
Oh, nothing, mate.
Oh, I thought you had something else.
All right, well let's roll into the crystal ball.
We'll roll into the crystal ball and I'll go
This
through
weekend,
mine.
so it's a split round.
Yep, sure.
No.
What have we got? 5 games. Dolphins, Dragons. Now, off the top of my head, can't remember who's missing. All Origin players are
Well,
not
it's a
playing.
Monday. It's a Monday, so we don't know.
All
We know.
Origin-
We know
but all-
Kafus is out.
No, but I mean, like all the Origin
Yeah.
players are out of these games. So,
Yes.
so keep in mind, no Origin representatives are playing in these games.
So it's easy for the Dragons. It's only Ben Hunt that's out for them.
Okay, so Dolphins, Dragons.
Ben Hunt out, but we have the saviour in Sullivan at halfback. St George will back it up.
You know what's going to be funny with this, right?
I think
Ryan,
the Dragons will win this.
Yeah, St George will back it up.
one thing that will be good, right? You've got Ryan Carr, who just beat the Roosters, so he's got a 100% record against Robbo. Then he's playing Bennett, just so that he beats Bennett's, right? So it's a 100% record against Robbo and Bennett. And then the following week he's got Ivan Cleary. Now, Cleary's probably going to rest his Penrith
Yes,
guys
he will.
from Origin.
He
so
does
will.
that. He
So
does that.
He
He
could
will.
potentially start his coaching career, NRL career, with 100% against Bennett,
Yeah.
Robbo, and Cleary.
Wow.
That would be amazing.
No,
Wow.
you know
He's gotta
what?
win
Hat
those
off to
first.
Cleary for doing that too, because he knows
Yeah,
it's
I
a
know.
risk, but he knows how important it is to rest them as well.
Yeah, well-being. He's looking after their health.
Second game is the Eels versus the Cowboys, and the Eels are missing, that I'm aware of, Paulo. Cowboys have got 3 or 4.
Okay.
This is at Parramatta, and considering the Cowboys' recent form, I have to tip the Eels.
I saw something different with the Eels last week, Nicola, and I liked it. They're going to back it up. The Cowboys, until I see anything, I'm not going to tip them this year. Eels will win, and I think at the end we'll win well.
Shoeing, yeah. The Eels should win.
Saturday, the Warriors hosting the Broncos.
Well, Warriors will have a few out, actually.
Will they? Who are they missing?
No, not Warriors. Sorry, the Broncos, I mean.
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm tipping the Warriors because I think they're pretty
Yeah,
steady.
So
I mean,
that's why I think the Warriors should get it.
Broncos,
because of that.
they'll have a few, obviously their best players missing.
Is Reynolds going to be back? He had a
I don't know.
HIA,
I think he probably will
Yeah, he
because it
probably
was
will.
just a concussion.
Yeah.
But you know, Reece Walsh, Payne Haas,
Carrigan,
yeah, there's
Kobo.
I think there's too many.
Nicola, a week off or coming off the bye, the Warriors at home, so they had an extra week of preparation. They'll no one missing. They'll win.
Yeah,
They will win, and they'll move up the table. And Webster, who is going to get the Coach of the Year?
Rabbitohs hosting the Raiders.
Oh, wow.
Oh wow! Right.
We get the Cookie is going to definitely be playing because he didn't get picked.
And they've got a point to prove this week.
And they got the other
But
guy.
then so do the Raiders.
Yeah, they do. But who's the Raiders going to miss? They're going to.
I don't think they're missing. Are
Hudson
they
Young.
Hudson Young? Is there anyone else? But Parley's playing
Yeah,
for
no.
Canberra.
Yeah, no, just Hudson Young.
Yeah, Whiten's playing for Canberra. Neither one of them's in
Yeah.
Origin.
Be a good game, eh? They're going to be close to full
I
strength.
I think I'm going to go the Rabbitohs.
Rabbitohs will be missing Latrell,
Latrell.
Cameron Murray.
Murray. Who else?
That's
That's
it.
That's it. Okay.
Campbell Graham will have
Well,
a
they-
point
they-
to prove as well.
But yeah, he'll be fired
And
up.
they've got and the Rabbitohs have got cover, so they can bring Taff in
Yeah.
Yeah.
for
Oh, yeah,
Latrell.
he's fantastic.
They kept Mamazulis for Damien. I thought he was going to play
Mm.
Origin, but obviously not. And I'm sure they'll bring someone up for the lock there. What's his name again?
Cameron Murray.
Cameron Murray. Look, it's here. It's at home. South will win.
Yeah.
And Newcastle Knights hosting the Seagulls.
Well,
an
that's going to be
intriguing
interesting. Well,
game.
Kalen Ponga's in, at fullback,
Yeah.
apparently.
Ponders,
So I wonder if Jacob Arthur will be playing for Manly,
Yes.
considering DCE will be in Origin.
Yeah.
That's what they're
I
going
think
for.
that's what they're going
Yeah.
for. But
Yes.
they've got Johns and who's the other guy?
Well,
Schuster. So he might not. I
yeah.
think he's back up for Johns.
Okay.
I'm going.
I'll go to Seagulls. I mean, I know they're missing Turbo as well, but he's been missing for 8 weeks. I'm going to Seagulls.
True.
Yeah, you got to go this. No, I'm going to go the Knights.
Me too. I'm going to Knights. I don't know why. At home, I'm going to
Yeah.
Knights.
They're missing Frizzell only, I think.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's Eric Frizzell.
Yeah.
Interesting. George, you got any tidbits for us?
I have very quickly.
The plight of St. Helens.
Very well. Now it was a Challenge Cup this
Oh,
week.
okay.
But they did win. They're in the last 8, and
Okay.
so is our team, the Lee Leopards. They keep on impressing.
Oh, fire.
And in the last 8, we've got a League One team. So in theory, we should be the last 4. So they're having not only a good year in the regular competition, but we're doing well in the Challenge Cup as well. So we might be getting up early, Nicola.
Yeah.
To watch the Lee Leopards at 2:00 in the morning. I'm going to make you. I'm going to make you watch it.
Hey, if you provide breakfast, I'll be
I'm
here.
doing it.
That's all it takes for me.
I'm doing it. Let's talk soccer a little bit. We had the FA Cup final as well for the women in England, and as we know, Sam Kerr scored the winner, Nicola, which goes well for the World Cup, what's coming to Australia in a month or two. She's in stunning form. She also got the Golden Boot, and she got the Player of Year or whatever. So we don't know it in Australia, but she's an absolute star in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Just on that, while we're talking soccer, Italy's fighting their way back.
Yeah, how they go? What's happening now?
Beat Brazil 3-2.
Wow.
And they're in all 3 finals: Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League.
Okay,
There's
so
an Italian club in each game.
so that's good. That's
Yeah.
They're doing very well.
the good old days of youngsters coming through.
We'll see when the World Cup rolls around whether they're there or not.
But that have they gone into they gone into their groups, whatever, for qualifying? Yeah.
Only for the Euros, not for the World Cup.
Okay. Oh, that's right. It's Euros. We're following the plight of our young man from the Rausil Rhinos,
Yep.
Nicola.
Maxi?
Maxi baby, yep. And mate, they've done it again. They've beaten the Bankstown Sports Club 40-10.
Ooh.
So they just keep on racking them up. A little bit, what I understand, this game, a little bit more quiet from Max, not his explosive best. Our friend Chucky told me. But look, the team won 40-10, so we've got 3 out of 3 so far and on top of the table, Nicola.
That's good.
We keep saying it. We've got to go watch.
Yeah. We'll go watch. This week, obviously, we're a bit busy.
Yeah.
But maybe next weekend, Nicola will go. And of course, Athens Olympic in the basketball have made the Euro finals, Nicola, against Monaco
Nice.
or Barcelona. We're waiting to see who's going to come through there. So we've got another Greek team, Adi, in the final.
In the final
Yep.
for the what? The
Yep.
basketball.
Basketball. So
Greeks.
Olympiacos is in the Olympiacos Athens in the final,
There
mate.
you go.
And they came through they went through the hard way because they were a bit. This is the Euros, yeah.
Yeah.
So they came through the hard way. They played on the harder side of the draw.
Yep.
And that's my tidbits for this week. Short and sweet, Nicola.
Good stuff. And what are you guys looking forward to this weekend?
Wow.
What are we looking forward to?
Wow.
Game 2 of the Dragons, man, with Ryan Carr. I'm excited now. I wasn't excited watching Dragons. I've got a team to follow now. Which
I'm gonna jump a week forward. I'm gonna say this week. I'm gonna say this next week. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to picking up George from the airport on Friday night.
I
love hanging out with him.
I am going to Tasmania for a couple of days, and I've cut it short. I'm coming back a little bit earlier, unfortunately, for a Dulac conference. Not that I want to go, and somehow Nick's got wrangled in picking me up on Friday night, Adi. Originally, the Wonder Boy was going to do it, Anthony, but
It works out well. You land at 9:30.
yeah.
Paris playing at 8 o'clock.
So the game's
So
over.
I'll just sit down and watch the game and
Watch
wait
the
for you to
game.
come out.
Beautiful.
Easy.
there you go.
And on a serious note, actually, Nicola put his hand up. We are talking to a French international in a couple of weeks. The Wonder Boy is organising that. That's for the interview show, Nicola.
Off the bench,
Off the bench, yeah. It's going to be really late at night.
early morning.
Early morning for
Yeah.
us, but I think afternoon for her. So watch out for that one. Like I said, the Wonder Boy is organising that. You're welcome, Marty, to come 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. But I got this
it's
funny
okay.
feeling.
No, it's
I got
right,
this
man.
funny feeling.
Oh, God.
You it might be too much. I was actually surprised that Nico said he was going to rock up.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Like I said, as long as there's some breakfast, man, I'll be here.
So that's going to be interesting because we'll find out more about the domestic competition in France.
Women's
The
competition.
women's
Yeah.
competition, and she's a member of the French international team. She can tell us all about the World Cup, and
Yeah, that'd be good.
they played against New Zealand. They got smacked a little bit around,
Oh, okay.
but she was one of the better players, if I remember.
Okay.
I went back and actually saw some YouTube clips. I could freshen my memory up, and I remember because unfortunately, I was one of the idiots who stayed up all hours of the night and watched not only the men's and the women's as well. So I'm actually looking forward to this one, and it's good that I got Nicola coming because I got this funny feeling I'll be falling asleep. The guys know me, so they know that I'm an early to bed, early to rise type of bloke. But anyway, back to you, Nicola.
That wraps us up. That wraps us up for episode 41. I'm not going to go through where you can find us because you should know by now.
Absolutely.
I say it every week.
Yep.
But always a pleasure, gentlemen.
Thank
And look forward to next Monday night, which will be 2 days before the Origin.
Oh, I can't
you. Yeah, it should be good.
Happy
So
rugby.
that'll be really good. Yeah.
Bye, everybody, and happy rugby league.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great
Enjoy.
week. Bye.